welcome to the Articulate Ox podcast. I am your host, Soma79. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is a great episode. We have our first return guest ever, Concept the Hashtronaut, San Antonio hip-hop legend. He was back on episode 2. We talked about MF Doom, and he's decided to come back for a second round where he is going to do the lightning round of questions, 79 questions from Soma79. Just a whole bunch of random questions about nothing and about everything at all. And we touch a lot on his new album coming out with Apollo Black called Dabs and Espresso. It is out on Dab Day, 7/10. So that is this coming Monday if you're watching this the day it goes live. So definitely go check that out. It's going to be everywhere, streaming all those good places. Check out the Concept the Hashtronaut on Instagram and Apollo Black as well. They are both dope and amazing. So hope you enjoy this episode. Concept's got a lot of great answers here. We had a lot of good time doing this. And yeah, all right. Peace, y'all. Yo, welcome to the newest episode of the Articulate Ox podcast. I'm your host, Soma79. For the first time ever, we have a repeat guest, Concept the Hashtronaut, coming straight out of San Antonio, Texas. How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great. It's nice to hear you getting the intro perfectly the first time now.
First time, man. I got the first time this time. I'm a seasoned vet now. I've done like 25 interviews since then.
Man, and it's incredible. I've watched, at least 5, 6, 7 of them, and it's getting better every time.
Man, I appreciate it. I think we got Set the Tone T and Shadow coming up. Well, by this time this airs, it'll already been out. But they're coming up soon. I think they might be this week. I don't know. I'm losing track, but
that's super exciting, man. I love their dynamic.
Yeah. Their album's great. Redox, go check it out. It's available. It'll be available forever. Enjoy. All right. So you're gonna be the second person to do the 79 question lightning round. First person was Articulate Ox royalty Katie Newton, and she did it like a champ.
Hey,
we're not gonna make the mistake of waiting a half hour to start doing the questions. We're gonna start in pretty early, but let's talk a little bit about what you got coming up. So today is July 7th, I think. Friday, July 7th, 8th, 9th, because Monday, July 10th is International Dab Day. And yes, that is the release of your new album with Apollo Black, Dabs and Espresso, cover art done by yours truly. Yes. So that album, I'm very excited to hear that. I really enjoy doing the cover art for it. It's coming out on International Dab Day, 7/10. I'll say it again, on streaming platforms everywhere. What do you got to say about this album, man?
Honestly, man, it is just like my solidification of a subgenre that I've been kind of like playing around with for a while now, which is dab rap. You know what I'm saying? And dab rap specifically, which sounds kind of odd, but to me, it's like nowadays you can really cater your music subgenre to whatever you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Neo, sub, soul, you know what I mean? There's just so many different types of labels nowadays. I feel like stoner rap in general needs a resurgence. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like we need to reestablish that stoner subgenre. You have your amazing people like Cypress Hills, your Afromans, your Devin the Dudes, Far Sides and Souls of Mischief, and just all of these artists that even if their content wasn't specifically about smoking, right, you knew if you saw those artists on the playlist, what type of music and vibe was going down.
Yeah.
So that's the type of association I want. Obviously, you have the modern wave, your Smoke Dizzas, your Currencies, Snoop Dogg, obviously is the biggest one to ever exist. So I want my name to kind of be felt the same way those names are felt when you brought up.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And it's like you're comparing dabs to smoke. I mean, dabs are a little smoother. They're maybe a little cooler. It's like, I think your music sort of fits in that genre too. Because I think it's like, I'm thinking about the stoner acts. I know I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about dab music. And I feel how that all sort of connects together like that, man. That's dope.
For sure. I think, and even Apollo has a naturally more down tempo, like smoother sound, a lot of jazz samples and stuff like that, but it's still very bass heavy, which just like a dab is just going to hit you just a little bit harder
Yep.
than say smoking and relaxing. You know what I'm saying? It has that instant impact that catches you and gives you that euphoria, quite quickly.
Yep.
I feel like Apollo's music kind of does the same thing, you know what I'm saying, when you hear his beats.
Yep. Speaking of which, this is going to be one of my easier interviews because we've already done this before and I have all these questions. I got nicely toasted on some edibles beforehand. So you're getting stoned with
Hell
me
yeah.
today. So it's probably perfect, probably apropos. Um, cool, man. So any guest appearances on this?
That is a good question. I honestly feel like because of the Dabs and Espresso is a part of a series of EPs that I plan on releasing. The first series was Hastro World, which had a guest appearance on every song. And that was kind of the theme of that EP. A smoking session, like anyone who dropped by the studio while we're getting dabbed out and wanted to hop on a track, I kind of just let that flow. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it was some features that I haven't had before. Like I hadn't had a song with Set the Tone T before. I hadn't had a song with Chubby Ducats $100 before. So that was a very experimental EP for me. But with Dabs and Espresso was really going back to me and Apollo and that core chemistry that him and I create. You know what I'm saying? So will we have some guest features? It's possible, you know what I mean? But at the moment, it's really just focused on him and I creating, a sound together.
And he did all the beats on this, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah, definitely. I can't say that I've had a project any time in recent years that was produced by multiple producers.
Oh, word.
I
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that, like Alchemist, Madlib, style, Static Selecta,
Yeah.
Ninth Wonder, where they pair with the MC and do an entire vision. It's not just one song. One of
Yeah.
my favorites actually is Buckshot and Ninth Wonder Chemistry.
Yes. It's a good album. Yeah.
Phenomenal. You know what I mean? So that's what those are the types of projects that I look at when I'm working with a producer.
Word. Well, I got one of those coming out too. You're scaring the ducks. Myself and Pillsy Beats coming out soon.
Man, you guys is
Soonish.
definitely a good combination.
Thanks, man. Waiting on some guest features. Something I always said that I would never do again, but here we are.
Hey, this is the thing about hip hop, though. It's always been a collaborative art form.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
always meant to be about community. And that's exactly, honestly, what I feel about weed as well.
Mhm.
Obviously, in today's society, we're a lot more reclusive, and we're a lot more, private nowadays. But I feel like you still have that community connection that kind of being stone gives you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You can
Yeah.
almost recognize it without even having to smoke with another person.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. And unlike alcohol, it doesn't make you want to fight or drive into a tree. So it's a plus.
Absolutely.
So, all right, man. Well, let's get going to these questions. There are definitely some
Hmm.
questions in here that touch on the new album. You have not heard these questions before, so if there's anything you don't want to answer, feel free to just say pass. On the last one, Katie did nix one of the questions after it. I won't tell you what it was, but it would have been great. No way. I think I
But
asked
hey,
you. I think I do one of the questions in here is the same question that she had me cut out. So we'll see. If I'm not going to tell you
look,
which one, but we'll see.
I'm not even worried, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready. Let's get it.
All right, man. Let's do it. All right. All right. This is what I've actually been meaning. Number one, I've been actually meaning to ask you this for a while. It's my own personal curiosity. Have you ever heard of an '80s movie called Cloak and Dagger that was shot in San Antonio?
I have not.
Okay, it was starring the little kid from E.T. and Dabney Coleman, and it was this '80s
Okay.
movie where this kid has an imaginary friend, and he gets stuck in this weird like video. The guy's from in a video game, and there's kind of a murder plot, and people are getting shot in the face, and a woman's only got a couple fingers, but it's like a kid's movie, and I watched it all the time as a kid, and
That's
it's
crazy.
all I knew about San Antonio. And I just thought of it because I interviewed a production group from up here called Cloak and Dagger a few weeks ago. I'm like, have you heard of this movie? And they're like, yeah. One of them's like, yeah, we may sample that at some point. So
Okay, that's badass. Was the kid from ET still a kid in that movie?
yeah, it was around the same time. And the
Ah,
funny thing is, like, he has a little sister in that movie that you can tell they were trying to get exactly that Drew Barrymore from ET dynamic with her because she's like little blonde. They're like, Drew couldn't do this one, but we got little Drew, or like, so. But check it out. It's a weird movie. I don't know, like, it's just it's all I knew about San Antonio, and it's from the '80s. So I didn't mean to ask you about that, but
I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Check it out. All right, number two. Is Instagram more useful in promoting music than it used to be, less useful, or about the same?
Um, I think that it is more useful now because people have seen the path to success by using it. I think at Instagram's inception, it was mostly just about posting pics and giving insight into what you were doing on a day-to-day basis. Like a person might post a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't about like intricate posts that grab your eye
Right.
and do all of these things. So I think now it's actually just way more tailored to promotion and that type of thing than it used to be. So it's a little bit better for it now. I mean,
Right.
pros and cons to everything. You
In the
know what I'm
beginning of
saying? But
Instagram, there was no music. You couldn't apply a song. There were no reels or anything like that. So it made it pretty hard in the very beginning. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like that just wasn't what it was for.
Yep. Yep. What is your earliest memory of hip hop?
Um, my earliest memory of hip hop is going into I think it was like a FYE or some
For
type of
your entertainment. Yep.
yeah, it was
They
something
bought out all the
similar to
stores I
that.
used to go to as a kid, Strawberries and Sam Goody and all that stuff.
Yes, exactly. And I bought the Big Willie style album by Will Smith.
That is so funny because my either first or second cassette tape was DJ Jeff and the Fresh Prince. He's the rapper, I'm the DJ.
I feel like a lot of people's introduction to music buying and hip hop was Will Smith.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
at one point, he was the most popular rapper, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Like for a while, especially with his TV shows and the movies dropping and stuff like that. Like he
Yep.
was a household name for sure. So
Everybody called him corny and everybody bought the albums.
I mean, and to me, honestly, like the corniness was almost like it was a part of his personality for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like at a certain point in hip hop, like it was okay to be corny. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah.
it was cool. That was just who you were.
On the last episode, we talked about that album, about how it's the one I mentioned, the Jazz Jeff the Fresh Prince, the first one, how it went from being dope to corny, dope to corny, dope to corny to dope. Now probably corny because nobody likes Will Smith anymore, but everybody loves Jazzy Jeff. So it's just one of those things where it's like it just keeps changing, but it's always been dope to me. All right.
Absolutely.
What are your goals for Good Herb in the next 5 years?
Um, Honestly, what we are trying to accomplish is providing like a venue and studio space, hopefully with some type of multimedia facility attachment to it, where we can be a one-stop shop for any type of artist, whether you want to say you want to come and work on graphics. And then print those graphics and then put those graphics onto a garment. We want you to be able to do all of that in our facility. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to have the latest Procreate version or have an iPad and a stylus. Like you should be able to
Right.
come to somewhere and have that done right in front of you. You know what I'm saying? I would like to have artists that are available to people who want to come in and either show them or help them guide them through a project right on the spot. You know what I'm saying?
That's a really cool idea. It's kind of like making an appointment with a tattoo artist and then going in there and just like being like, well, you have a couple hours of my time. How can we work together? You know,
Absolutely, the
it's a
exact
cool
same
idea.
situation. You know what I mean? And then being able to provide these garments, like maybe walk into like a small walk-in closet space or something like that, and pick garments. And if we don't have them on hand, we can order them for you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and that's just that particular side. But I also want to be able to provide the recording part of it. I'm in a studio right now. Also want to be able to provide a venue space. That's a big thing that I'm into right
Right.
now is venue rentals, venue bartering. They get traded around like Pokemon cards. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
having my own space would help generate a lot of money to open up the other avenues that I want to do.
Yeah. It changes the whole business model completely. You know,
Absolutely. And ultimately, especially, with me having a daughter now, like I really want to be able to teach hip hop theory and hip hop mathematics as far as bars and measures and stuff like that to kids, kids who want to learn how to make beats, kids who want to learn, the art of DJing and these types of things. I really want to be able to have a space that is safe and notable for those types of things as well. You know what I
that's
mean?
awesome. Especially because I was a kid who grew up. I played sports. I sucked. I was forced to play them. I hated it. If there was a music program I could have done that wouldn't have been me playing the violin or like the recorder. If I could have gone somewhere and like scratch records, I would have been a whole different person.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel the same way. You know,
I wouldn't have had
have
all those years of misery that made me the strong person I am today. I could have been a happy kid and a miserable adult. I don't know what's up in
uh,
Memphis.
this is facts, though. I mean,
Those
if anything, I
Yetis.
think if it maybe would have just it would increase the overall quality level of our genre. I
Yes.
think if there was more formal training at an earlier age available, you
Yep.
know.
Yep. I definitely agree. Yep. And that's funny because everybody I talk to now, I took about a 10-year break off from hip hop, and through the podcast, I've been reconnecting with people I hadn't talked to in a while. And a lot of them had the same thing. They're like, I just took a year or two over the past decade and really learned it. And then it was different. And it's like,
Right.
that's an important, it's like a lot of them learned it in their 30s, late 20s, but if you can learn it in your teens, it's all the easier. So,
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like you're so creative when you're young because you aren't scared.
right.
You know what I mean? Like you don't have all of this like, will people like it? How many people will like it? How far will it reach? That's not really as much in your mind when you're young. You're kind of
No.
just like, hey, this is what I want
Hey,
to
I did
do.
it. Yeah, this is fridge worthy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that rawness is amazing, you know?
Yeah, yeah. All right. Question number 5. Will Texas ever legalize weed?
Mm, yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
certainly believe so because Texas is about the money. You know what I mean? And at this particular moment, they're making more money from the criminalization of it than they would have the ability to make from the legalization of it because they don't have the infrastructure in place to support legalization. A lot of people don't realize a lot of it is agricultural. A lot of it is, you
Good
know,
point.
yeah, a lot of different things that people don't consider. It's not as easy as just, hey, let's legalize weed.
Right,
Uh,
then ship it over like the Mexican border.
yeah,
That would take a few
it
more
doesn't
law
work like that.
changes. Yeah.
Even a place like Florida, right? Let's take about the difference between Florida and Oregon. Florida, you must have vertical integration in your business. So you must own your entire supply chain in Florida in
Oh,
order to
really?
have a dispensary. Yeah, from the growing of it to the
I didn't
processing of
even
it
know.
to the
Is
dispensary.
Florida medicinal or it's not recreational, is it?
I don't know if it's
I
recreational
don't think
yet, but it's
DeSantis is
certainly
letting people get away with that. He seems to
yeah,
not like.
but it's like openly medicinal, as in like Cali style. Like anyone can
Ah,
get a
cool.
card. It's yeah. So there's dispensaries all over, chain dispensaries that you would find in Denver and Portland as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, no, I see them legalizing when it makes sense.
yeah. It's a good point. All right. Do you remember the first pair of really nice sneakers you ever had? Mine were a
Um,
pair of when they first put out Reebok pumps. In like 1990. I had a pair of purple and orange ones that actually had the basketball pump on the tongue. Those are mine.
what?
Yeah, I was just still at them, but
I feel like that was like an earlier edition. Like, did
it
they
was
only do
literally
the
the first or second year that pumps were out. It was brand new.
right?
I felt
That's
so
crazy.
cool. I was not.
Did
This
you
was like
pump them
back in
up
like this.
often?
Oh yeah, this was back in this. I was like in fifth grade. This is like back in like the Steve Urkel days. So it's like this is all
Right,
we
right.
had. That
That's
was my Riz for like
badass.
2 years.
Hey, but listen, I've never even seen them. You know what I mean? You had an exclusive pair of shoes on.
Yeah, yeah. What about you?
Um, I nice shoes. Honestly, I can't say that like fashion really became a part of my like life really until later on. But I would say the first pair of really nice shoes I had was a pair of Pharrell ice creams. He had these shoes that looked like bowling shoes at the time,
Oh, word.
and they had like a little symbols on them. Maybe it'd be ice creams or diamonds, money signs, etc. That was like amazing to me at the time to be able to afford a pair of Pharrell ice creams. I was obsessed with Clips and
Yeah,
Pusha T and
yeah.
Malice at
Oh,
the
yeah.
time. Even Lil Wayne was starting to wear a lot of Bape and ice cream at the time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, those are cool
yeah,
designs. I remember I got my
yeah,
first pair of Air Jordans in like my 30s, and I was at Whole Foods of all places, and the guy bagging my groceries told me I was wearing them wrong because my pants were covering the tongue. And I was like, he's right. And I have been wearing them right ever since. So, shout out to that kid.
Hell yeah. I mean,
You know?
now later in my life, I'm getting more Jordans and stuff like that because spending over $100 on a pair of shoes now feels just more like inflation, as
Yeah.
to where at the time it felt like the most prized possession you could have ever purchased. Like,
I just bought I want another pair of Jordans, but I don't really eat meat, and I'm kind of like I don't want to buy like leather and stuff anymore. So I found that Billie
ah,
Eilish put out a pair of Jordans that were, I guess, vegan, but they only came
yes.
in women's sizes, so I had to get a size 14 and a half, which I don't know, like you have to be like a WNBA all-star to like have to be able to wear this shoe, but it fits me perfectly and I love them. So they're solid lime green and dope.
Are they the twos?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think that they're the throwbacks. They're more of a retro style. I don't know the particular
Okay, okay. Yeah, you'll have to show me, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying,
I
later
will.
on.
I'll send you a link
I
of them.
definitely want to peep because I like her shoe designs, honestly. Like
Yeah.
I was impressed with her
I
drops.
wasn't it's funny, like I didn't really know her. I didn't feel any way about her one way or another. And I looked her up. I'm like, oh,
Right.
she does kind of dress like me. I'm like, this is kind of funny. I was like, all right, perfect. All right. And I checked out her music and I liked it. So all right.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty good.
Um, Let me see. If you were a pro wrestler, what would your entrance music be?
I feel like it might honestly be Dell the Funky Homo Sapien, Good Hygiene.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed
Like,
that.
yeah, I feel like that beginning sample, that boo 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 boo
Yeah,
boo,
that actually
that
that
when
works, man.
yeah, when that comes in, like, because I want to come in smooth. Like
Yeah,
my
yeah,
wrestler personality is real smooth. You know what I'm saying? Like, plus we're like hugging on sweaty dudes all the time. Like,
yeah.
I just want to make fun of people for smelling bad in the ring and shit like that. Like, that would be my whole gimmick. You know what I mean? Like, I'd maybe pull out like a toothbrush and like stab him with it or something. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
perfect, man. Perfect. All right. Um, what song are you most excited about on Dabs and Espresso?
mm, what song am I most excited about? And it's funny you should ask me that because the first song that comes to mind actually does have a feature verse on it. So yes, there will be a feature on Dabs and Espresso. I have a song with the homie Hollow, who is actually an artist himself, and a big fan of your art as well.
Oh, dope.
We have a song together called Push It, which is produced by Apollo. And that song's my favorite right now. You know what I'm saying? It's a standout. We performed it a couple of nights ago down here for a concert that they had at the local venue, and it went over pretty well. So,
Sweet. Awesome. Can't wait to hear it.
yes, yes.
All right. As I'm sure you know, denim shorts are often referred to as jorts. Do you feel that the term jorts is derogatory by nature, or is it just an objective term to identify a specific type of clothing? And by that, I mean that if you refer to something as jorts, are you inherently making fun of them, or is it just another word like shirt?
This
I
is
know the
tough
hard questions, the hard
because it's
questions.
kind of like spork a little bit, like you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
But
Yeah, it's
spork
like
it is what it is. In a jort, it
yeah,
is what it is. But when someone
yeah.
says someone's like, hey, you're wearing jorts, I feel like there's always a little sass on it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna say I definitely feel like it's gonna be satirical most of the time. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like you're definitely gonna be making fun of somebody wearing some jorts. But I mean, I feel like the immediate thing that comes to mind is Insane Clown Posse and like anyone who is a juggalo and that whole
Yeah.
Jinko type of vibe. So yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with
See, I
ridicule.
think John Cena when I think jorts, but I feel like he's like it's like there's those two ends and neither of them. I mean, I like Cena, but it's like he's not cool. Like he's a
He's not,
dork.
no.
He's a dork.
The either ends of those spectrum is
Yeah.
a wild spectrum to
So
be
is
on.
there yeah, is there an excuse to wear denim and shorts in between? I don't know. Tell us. There is. Leave it in the comments.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Honestly, I'm just gonna subscribe that to my favorite jorts are going to be Daisy Dukes.
That's
So
true. And that's actually an interesting question because I feel like jorts are a man thing. Or
yeah,
like I
exactly.
feel like if
Yeah,
a
you
woman is wearing jean shorts, is a different thing. So don't
it's
and it's like,
totally cool.
and
It's
I don't even
no
want to get
big
too
deal at
gendered.
all.
It's just, it's
But
like,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. That's why I'm like, you know what?
Because
I
jorts I
have,
think
you
are
know what?
really the long baggy ones, I guess. So maybe that's it.
Exactly. But is it because they're long shorts or jean shorts?
We might have to have a separate episode about this.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
This is
let's put a
deep.
pin in
This is
this.
deep.
All right. Um what has changed in the San Antonio hip hop scene since you've been a part of it? That's question 10.
I would say realistically, when I first started participating in the scene, it was during the pandemic. So a lot of people actually were not as active. Once the pandemic ended, you had a lot of people that were active before the pandemic reactivating and coming into a whole different scene now because people that have been throwing shows consistently throughout the pandemic, like me, people like AAG and Diversity, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people were throwing shows. So now I feel like the dynamic has raised the quality level more than anything. People care about having good sound. People care about having a handmade custom flyer. You know what I'm saying? Like the overall quality level of the shows has increased. And that would be the main thing, the main difference I've seen personally. You know what I'm saying? It's just people caring more about the quality.
Okay. Question 11. What song in your catalog do you think didn't get enough love, and why was it I Know, produced by AP Beats, mixed and mastered by Pillsy Beats, featuring Apollo Black and Soma 79?
Because I personally feel like people didn't take the time um out of their day to dedicate to supporting great music. You know what I mean? I think that if people really have a second or at least a minute, they should definitely go to all streaming platforms and stream the most underrated track of the year so far, which is I Know by Soma 79, AP Beats, Concept, and
Apollo Black,
yeah.
mixed and mastered by Pillsy Beats. What I appreciate that. That's only one of two that really is my secret plug. But what how about from the rest of your catalog? What do you think is a track that some of the people may have that doesn't have the listens that you want, that you think it deserves based on how you feel about it? I don't like using the word deserve. It sounds like it's entitled. What's the hidden gem in the Concept catalog?
The hidden gem. I have a song that is actually my least streamed song of all of my songs. And I have like over 100 something songs online. And I actually feel like the verses in this song are like the deepest and like most real verses I've ever written. You know what I'm saying? So it's just very funny that no one has heard it.
Let's blow it up. What is it?
Um what is the song called?
I don't know.
Right. I gotta remember. And it's like I know the words, I know everything. Selfish. That's what it's
Okay.
called.
Selfish.
Yeah, it's so selfish. Yes,
Go
that's
find
what it's
that.
called.
Go scroll all the way to the
Yes.
bottom and find
I'm
Selfish and
talking,
blow
you
that
gotta
shit up.
really go down to the
Yeah.
bottom, man.
It's let's bring that
Oh,
to
and
the
I
top.
just lied. It's actually called So Helpless.
Okay, so helpless. Okay, so helpless.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything that Tekashi 69 can do to save his career?
Mm, I mean, yeah, I feel like there's always a path to redemption nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, unless you are going to prison, you know what I'm saying, for some type of heinous crime, I really don't see, him losing any type of core fan base and stuff like that. A lot of the youth and younger people that listen to him don't care about
Right.
anything else. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't matter,
That's a good
So,
point, yeah. And I'm somebody too he's one of those people that I love watching from afar because the show is insane. And I do really
absolutely.
like one or two of his songs. So I'm just sort of like, this is an interesting, and I mean the guy's just he's
Is
yeah,
wild.
it's wild. It's out there. So I'm curious to see how that story evolves.
I mean, if
Um,
anything, man, I just hope that he stays sober and doesn't, commit any foolish anymore. You know what I'm saying? Foolish
right.
crimes.
Well, I think over time we'll find out whether he's somebody who's extremely narcissistic and sociopathic, or if he's somebody who got caught up in the wrong situation is going to find his way back. He's going to end up going in one of. I think the truth will reveal itself in time. So,
Absolutely.
do you think Mad Villainy 2, like not the remix album, but an actual one of new tracks, will ever be released?
No.
Right.
I don't
Nope.
think that there's enough back catalog.
No, there has been talk it's 85% done, and Madlib is saying it will be released. But Madlib has said many times many things will be released, and they have not been. So
I don't think it's ever dropping.
I think too the biggest obstacle, and this is my speculation, is that there's been issues with Stone's Throw, and it seems like Doom's Family, and I think Overlook those missing rhyme books. And I don't want to speculate too much on this. I have no information, but
Oh yeah, that whole
it
situation. Yeah,
that
yeah,
leads me to
yeah.
believe that there may not be totally in sync with each other, and that stuff like that can delay. So that was my, but whatever. I don't
Very
have any information
understandable
on that, but just that's my thought. All right.
for sure.
How question 14. How do you overcome creative blocks or moments of self-doubt?
Um, Normally I just take a step back, honestly, and focus on something else. I think usually when you enter into those mindsets is because you're hyper focused, and you are now developing unrealistic expectations for yourself in the moment. You know what I'm saying? And you really need to just step back and get back to the mindset that was positive enough for you to create in. You know what I'm saying? So normally I just take a break.
The perfect
Nothing.
sorry. The perfect
I was
analogy
saying,
for
yeah.
Oh, sorry. The perfect analogy for that is when your car gets stuck in mud, and if you keep spinning the wheels, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to
Not
stop
at
and think
all.
about a new approach and take a minute. That's what happens with my brain, at least. So,
Yeah, for sure. I'm the same way.
yeah. All right. I'm trying to do this with my glasses on, so I'm really at an disadvantage. All right. What are some of the weirdest things people have ever messaged you on Instagram? Because I get some weird messages. I don't want to blow anybody up here, but I definitely get some stuff, like not from like bots, from like real
Right.
nitwits.
Yeah, real people.
Yeah.
Real people definitely. I think the most interesting thing I get really is people like being very like brash and how they expect stuff from you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just people being very like, yo, I need you to do this, this, and this, and can you put me on this? And I have this artist and this, and this, and I'm like, hey man, let's start from the beginning. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Who are you?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Who are you representing? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of people are just very pushy. You know what I'm saying? I also get a lot of scam. You know what I'm saying? A lot of rap scam stuff,
Yeah.
which is super annoying all the time. And I'm not even talking like hip hop 365. I'm talking like uh local scams. You know what I'm saying? Like people who go from city to city trying to scam locals.
So I've actually
Showcase.
I haven't seen. Oh, so this is for people who don't know, because that's not something we experience much up here. At least I don't get them. Just heads up to people. What are those scams like, and how can people avoid them?
Okay, so if you see any type of stock flyer, interchangeable stock flyer type of profile, DM you talking about they're coming in town with this artist, and this artist, and you have a great opportunity to open for this, and it's some type of city to city situation. More likely than not, they are obviously trying to just generate more followers and engagement and money. I'm saying, for themselves, and then probably most likely than not, I'm saying, charge the local artists in the
Right.
city. And most of the time, it's not even incentivized. You can't even recoup your money from the situation. Um, you know, uh, Always do your research. You know what I'm saying? Really, find, if you can, find somebody who actually knows the person. You know what I'm saying? If
Exactly.
you're not, yeah, and if you're not able to do that, there's probably a reason. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yeah.
So you just gotta be careful with the, because it's natural to be hungry for opportunity. You
Right.
know what I'm
They're
saying? It's
taking
natural
advantage
to.
of people who want to hear good things about themselves to some degree too.
I was just
Who
about to
want to
say,
believe in
ego is a
themselves.
large part of it too. You know what I'm saying? You want to feel like your music is finally getting some attention, and you got people from out of town noticing what you do. But they really just found you through algorithms and other people's follows. They
Right.
probably haven't even really heard your music.
Yep. Definitely. All right. So this is something that I keep meaning to ask you, and I was going to ask you now. Do you have any work you need me to do in the next month or so? Because I'm trying, like artwork, because I'm trying to figure out my schedule, and I keep forgetting to ask you.
I'm trying to think.
And you can get back to me
Uh,
on that one later. I just wanted to make sure that I got it in.
Yeah, not for sure. Not that I can think of off like immediately. The only thing that I have being made right now is a tour flyer that Hollow is making, and it's themed after Captain Planet.
Oh, that's dope. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So he's flipping the Captain Planet shit to the characters
That's
in the
cool.
Good Herb
Have you
Clan. You know
ever
what I'm saying?
seen the Funny or Die sketch where Don Cheadle plays Captain Planet?
No, I
You
haven't.
gotta find this is like maybe 10 or 15 years old. I hadn't seen it until recently. It is amazing. He gets like hungry with power. It's nuts. It
I
was
love
like,
Don
yeah,
Cheadle.
he's so funny. He's
Yeah, Don
yeah.
Cheadle is hilarious.
Yeah. All right. So 2023 is the 50th anniversary of hip hop. Where do you see hip hop in 2073 when we're at the 100th anniversary?
Um, I see it not existing.
I
Um,
think we're all going to be gone, to be honest with you.
yeah, it's gonna be like an archaic genre like jazz that some obscure youngsters probably participate in, you know what I'm saying? And that is gonna be something that is found to be a more like classy, like it's gonna be played in more mature areas, you know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna be a much more old genre at the time, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think music is, I mean, hip hop is already kind of, you know, in like half pop, half trap, it's already kind of fading into something else. So I don't think it's going to be,
Yeah. All right.
no, there's not no new hip hop in 2073, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's like how many more times can it reinvent itself?
Yeah, it's
It's
not.
just yeah. It's like you're gonna sample something so much you have it back to the original song. It's like that's essentially what it'll somehow eat its own tail. All right,
Yo, that's
question.
crazy.
Yeah. Mark my words. Question 18. If you were a hip hop artist in an alternative universe, what would your alternative stage name be? And this is a question brought to us by Chat GPT because we were originally supposed to do this interview next week. We decided to do it the last minute and I didn't have any questions. So a few of these
Right.
came from GPT.
Shout out Chat GPT. I haven't used it myself, but I love like hearing the amazing things this app can do. You know what I
There's this
mean?
new
Like,
app called Lately, though. I was talking to your man Mike about it, who was on the podcast before, and it's $179 a month, but it'll edit your videos for you and allegedly find the best parts. And I was like, yeah,
$179 a
a
month.
month. It does other things too, but like
Right, right.
and it's
I'd
like, I'm
have to
not
see
doing
how well
this.
it, if
Yeah.
it can make you music videos though.
No, we can edit like this video. I think it can be like I think what I was trying to find something to do is a way to make clips so I could release
Right.
5 minute things, but like it's a lot of time and effort. And so when I was talking to Mike about it, what we came down to is, oh, when I edit it, I can see that my voice wave looks different from other people. So I'll just clip it around that and go, I ask a question there and I'll just let it go until I see myself. So that's how we got down from me spending I don't know, like $200 a month times $2,500 a year to spending nothing. So
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
yeah, that was not an option really. So what would your alternative stage name be
Alternative stand.
in an alternative universe?
It would probably be like I wish I could change my name like Concept X. Like Zev Love X, you know what I'm saying?
You
Like
got
I
my
would
permission.
love, you know what I mean? Like X the Unknown, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like I would definitely love to have some like variation of that in my name for sure. Like I might create that persona later. You never
yeah.
know. You know
Everybody start calling them that. No.
what I mean? Right?
Nobody steal the Instagram. All right. How do you stay motivated and inspired to create new music?
I'm a firm believer in that you have to live life in order to write like the kind of music I write, just in the sense of like it's life derivative. I'm not like a fantastical writer, you know what I'm saying? Like I can't really do a lot of imaginative and like imagination stuff. I really write for the lethargic feeling of um that's not the word, but you know what I'm trying to say. For the
Yeah.
feeling of re-
I could tell it wasn't a word, but I can't.
it's like it's for that release, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yes.
so
Therapeutic.
it's like yes, well
All right.
yeah, that's definitely a synonym. I'm gonna use it.
All right.
So it's like it's a very therapeutic feeling getting to write that stuff out. You know what I'm saying? Like what's happening in life, what has happened, memories. I don't have very good memory, so when I remember stuff, I really like to incorporate that into the raps.
All right. What is the wildest party you've ever been to without getting anybody indicted?
Party.
Yeah, party, or I guess it could be a concert, gathering, I guess.
I would say honestly, because I actually saw my homie recently in July. Uh, his name's Adam. We used to be like in a little rap group together, you know what I'm saying, in New Orleans. And I distinctly remember like his persona in the rap group just being the guy that pissed people off so much that they wanted to beat him up, but he could not fight. So it
We had one
always
of those in
ended
our
up,
crew too.
yeah, like he's always the instigator, but he can't scrap at all. So it always be the homies having to jump in and save him. And I just remember one epic frat house brawl that was just so hilarious. There was like skateboards involved. There was all types of stuff going down, and yeah, that was just a really fun night, man. Like nobody got in trouble, nobody was injured or anything like that. It was just really it's always, and now he's actually touring with the Killers. So it's
Oh
like,
shit.
yeah, it's just crazy to see, you know, how far people come and you
Yeah.
know, how yeah, he's
It's funny that quality of being the person who, like, because the people I'm thinking of that were like that, it worked out pretty well for most of them in the long run. And I guess
Mhm.
maybe it's just they have to they're extrovert and have to grow into it or something. But usually those people don't step on the mousetrap, and they usually avoid it until they mature a little. So that's good.
Right. He's definitely doing way, way better now. And shit, I think with anybody when you have such a long history with them, shit, all the parties and memories are gonna be dope. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
that whole time period was beautiful.
All right. No, question 21. Who would your dream collab be?
Um shit, at this point, it'd probably be Elzai, honestly, you know, which
Yeah.
is something that is like 100% possible.
Yes.
So you know what I mean? So like that would, you know, that would definitely be
I've
mine,
done
or
it.
maybe
It's
yeah,
possible.
yeah, that's why I'm like it's 100% possible. So
Yep.
that or maybe Sci High. I would love to have a song with Sci High.
Yeah. The one that I kind of want that I haven't got yet is Saigon. He's a big fan of I'm a big fan of his, and I'd love to work
I
with
like
him.
Saigon. His music
Yeah.
is hard as hell, man. I love his shit.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I actually right now I don't know if I told you this. I'm working on a song with Percy P, who's I'm a big fan of.
Okay,
And
nice.
from he was one of the reasons I quit rapping for 10 years. I heard one of the songs with Diamond D called Two Brothers from the Gutter, and I was sitting in traffic and I'm just like, I'm a fraud. I can't, I felt utterly outclassed. And I was just like,
Right.
yep, that's it. We're done. I'm gonna start drawing. So now to do a song with them to me feels gratifying. So
Hell yeah.
all right. Who is a rapper whose name you've been hearing for years, but you don't really know any of their music? That's a tough one
Um,
because I was trying to think of who that would be for me, and I was struggling to come up with it. But
hmm. I feel like I do a relatively good job of listening to like a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying? But maybe I would go into like the hip hop genre. Like I haven't heard a Tom McDonald song uh at
I
all.
only know him because he dissed Mac Lethal, who I've worked with a few times, and I was like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah, yeah. So like a person like that I've definitely heard his name like a lot, but I have not heard a song
Yeah,
by him.
I wasn't aware he was that big. That's funny because I remember when he dissed Mac Lethal, I was like, "Is this And then I looked him up. He was pretty big. So
Yeah, he's big. He's definitely big.
all right. Is if there was a part of your responsibilities or task associated with being an independent hip hop artist, promoter, whatever, that you could pass off to somebody else and know would get done, like what's the part of it you'd most be willing or want to give up?
Um Promotion for sure.
The fame.
Like yeah, daily content creation and promotion. I would
Yeah.
certainly pawn that off to some fucking intern.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
It's
I'm
like,
always thinking, I'm like, can I get what is there a college credit somebody can get off me?
you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck, man? You know, and they're so much better at it.
Yeah.
And that's also a large part of it too, is that they're so in tune with it and just have such a natural ability to use these apps to create, TikTok and the reels and stuff like that. I would love to be more creative in that area. So that would be useful.
Yeah. What is the hardest you've ever laughed?
Um, Definitely on shrooms. It was 100% on shrooms. Um, I'd say the most recent one I can remember is I was in LA with AP Beats. We were visiting a homie of mine, and we were in Costa Mesa, which is south of LA. And I remember the homie was like, "Yo, we're gonna take some shrooms. We're gonna end up going out to eat, and we're gonna do this, this, and this." And I was like, "Cool, man, let's do it." We had set up a studio on the Airbnb. We took 1G, 1G of shrooms each. And he told us they were strong. But, I was like, man, it's 1 gram. We're going to be,
Yeah.
giggling a little
Because I was
bit.
going
We'll
to
be
ask you
good.
what your dose, because my dose is usually like half to one. I don't take over one anymore because it becomes unpleasant for me, but I love it below that.
Since then, I have not tried to take more than one because I geeked so hard that I don't think I need any more
Yeah.
than one, especially with like a good batch. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Obviously shrooms are different than when we were young. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? They got so many different types of strains. They're not even grown in the same materials anymore. You know what I'm saying? So much cleaner. So, but yeah, so I was laughing my ass off. We were watching, I want to say Guardians of the Galaxy or just something that's not even that funny.
Yeah.
And
Those
I
movies,
could
every
not,
Guardians of the Galaxy movie has made me cry, actually. That's why I've been nervous to see the third one. Because
oh
the other
my
day I
God.
was like, I think I wanted to go see it, but I'm like, I think that raccoon's gonna make me cry again. And like I'm like, I don't have that in me today.
It's super sentimental. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a beautiful production. I just love
Yeah.
the visuals of it
It's
and
like it's the
everything.
family they choose because none of them had real families. I'm just I'm like, I'm like, I'll
uh,
hug you, Chris Pratt.
yo, that's funny.
Yep. All right. Let me see. How do you incorporate your personal experiences in your songwriting? You've already kind of touched on that a little bit, but is there anything more you want to add to
Um,
that?
I would just say honestly, my biggest thing is telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? If anybody was to go back through my rhymes and just like fact check or do any type of, what I'm saying, deeper dive, I just want, everything I say to be, representative of me and like factual. That's really the most important part to me. Especially, authenticity in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's more important than being from some type of rugged background, is really just being true to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's why, whoever listens to my music, the few people that do, I feel like that is part of the reason they do.
Yep. What you're saying. All right. You were locked in a log cabin for a month with everything you need to survive. Before going in, you were asked to choose between a yo-yo and a Rubik's Cube. Whichever you pick, you'll have to master during your month in the cabin. Which one do you choose and why?
I'm choosing a yo-yo for sure. I have a lot of experience with yo-yos.
Oh, all
Um,
right.
Yeah, yeah. We used to get, yo-yos from the corner store. We put like the little chips in them, like we called them brains at the time. So we'd have the brains in the yo-yo so they could sleep longer.
What?
We could do trips. I can rock the cradle, like baby in the
Oh shit.
cradle.
So you're already a master. Is it that
I
you're
can do it.
scared of the Rubik's Cube?
I think it's more so I'll get bored of the Rubik's Cube, honestly. Like the number of things you can do with the yo-yo and the
That's
string
very true, yeah.
is just so much more versatile. I'll probably get into some swinging tricks and stuff like that.
The thing about a Rubik's Cube is it's near impossible if you don't have a strategy. Because for one period of time, I was like, I want to get really good at Rubik's Cube. Then I left it in my backpack and it melted with a pack of Orbix gum. And then I decided I didn't give a fuck about Rubik's Cubes anymore.
Yeah,
So,
like why would you?
well, why?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm, a nerd. That's why.
But then you
um,
would think the yo-yo was your thing then because they
I
had
had I
competitive
had a
yo-yo.
yo-yo. I'm a Dunkin'. I like the Dunkin' butterflies. I had a green one. So
Yeah, hell yeah.
yeah. Um, question number 27. How dumb was that last question?
I like that question because yo-yos were just a very big part of my childhood, believe it or not. You know what I'm
Coming
saying? Like
back.
just like playing jacks was a big part of my childhood. Like, I don't know, I'm old.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm older. I just turned
yeah. So
44.
like I used to cop all these things from the corner store when it was time for entertainment.
Yep. Yep. I know what you're saying. If you were a hip hop artist in a video game, what would your special unlockable move be?
Man. Um
I'm not a big video game guy. This is another AI question.
I would know, but I would definitely say maybe like some type of like I'd like mm, disappear in a cloud of smoke.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Like yeah, I like I chief
Yeah.
the blunt real
On some
heavy
now
and
you
then
see
just
me, now you don't type
you know you
shit.
don't yeah, poof, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then come over your head like an overhand elbow or something, you know what I'm saying, out of nowhere, like some crazy shit like
Yeah.
that.
I'm just realizing I was staring at my glowing Pac-Man sign as I was saying I'm not really a video game person. So I don't believe what you want to believe. I guess I'm not as real in my podcast as you are in your raps. So
You're like, I do have a
yeah,
Pac-Man here.
I'm like, I literally actually can reach right down here and have this thing.
I got my Switch right next to me, so I feel you, man.
Yeah. But this is the old school Nintendo cheat controller that we had as a kid. This is the original Nintendo one where it had where you could hold down buttons for you and control the speed of them. So this was how we
Ah,
cheated back in the day because I'd never a game genie.
hey,
All right.
that thing's retro.
For years there were rumors that people like Tupac and Elvis were still alive. Do you think that any celebrity has ever successfully faked their own death?
No, I
I don't
don't
think so
believe so,
either.
honestly. Yeah.
I think it's too
I think
hard.
yeah, I think literally my bad.
That's all right.
Literally I believe that it is contradictory like those two things, like the ability to fake your death and being a celebrity.
Right. To not get
So
credit for it, I think would be difficult.
right. Well, I mean, it's just one of those things where if they were successful, we wouldn't know they were successful.
Right. I just think it's funny that people are so quick to say stuff like that in some cases, but it is tremendously hard to do something like that and to pull it off,
it
especially if you're
it is
recognizable.
it is damn near impossible. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But it is not impossible.
No. I just read an article the other day about a guy who broke out of prison after killing some teens in like the Midwest years and years ago, and they found him, married twice with kids in Australia when he passed away like 10 years ago. It happens.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, not to mention, man, with the number of people who have like purchased islands and stuff like that, like wealth
Yeah.
is just different nowadays and everything's for sale, including domicile. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. How do you know when to end a recording session? And that is
Um,
question 30.
Honestly, for me, it's when I start to doze off. Like
Are you an
I'm
at night recorder or
no, truthfully, I prefer to record during the day, like in
me
the
too?
morning and stuff like that. I like that like fresh morning energy and whatnot. Typically by the end of the day, I've been smoking all day, so I'm a bit more groggy and whatnot. But also in my older age, I'm just not as active later in the night as I used to
Me
be.
too.
But at the same time, like uh, I just honestly prefer recording um like when I have a lot of time. I don't like rushing,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
actually another question. I'll touch on that pretty shortly, so we'll get to that in a minute.
Hmm.
If you're question 31, if you're an out of towner visiting San Antonio, what are the best local spots to visit?
Ooh, I would definitely say you want to stop by Hondros, which is a patio type bar on St. Mary's Strip, which is like our local bar strip. So I would definitely say you want to visit Hondros. I would definitely say you want to visit Josephine Theater, which is a theater here that puts on like all different types of productions, man. They had like a cat circus
Oh
where they
shit!
had cats come and just do cool cat tricks. Like these weren't obviously they weren't being abused or
Right.
caged or anything of that nature. They were just doing cute cat tricks.
Cats don't do anything they don't want to do. So if a
Yeah,
cat is
yeah,
there doing a
exactly.
trick, they're doing it because they want
That's
to do
what
it.
it was. They had on little cute little outfits and stuff like that. They've also done like Elvis tribute renditions. They do all types. It's a theater. They do all types of stuff, and they are very, very supportive of the community. Food wise, man, San Antonio is a little tough with the food. But I would say if you are into brisket and barbecue and all of those types of things, very delicious steak, you're gonna want to go to a restaurant here called Tuasador. Um, and they have a great lunch happy hour, probably the best in the city. Everything's like half off. So cheap people like me can eat fancy food.
Sweet. That's awesome. I'll be down there for that cat circus.
Yeah,
Um,
that's just crazy.
who is more annoying, the people who just discovered Doom after he passed away, or the people who complain about the people who just discovered Doom since he passed away?
The people who complain for sure,
Yes.
because why would you not want someone to continue to get recognition for what they dedicated their life to? You know what I'm saying? You just sound like a huge hater to me, trying to stop someone from being,
Gatekeeper, yeah.
yeah, like what? You know what I mean? Like, what are you even talking
And
about?
also,
You know what
it's
I'm
not
saying?
like this is a case where he's going to become more popular. It's going to go to Doom's head and he's going to be a different person. He's gone, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's almost
exactly.
like I would talk before on a different episode of hip hop's done a great job keeping the legacy of Jay Dilla alive. He's been gone since like 2006. It doesn't feel, it's almost been 20 years.
Right.
And then it doesn't feel that way. And I think, hip hop's going to do the same thing for Doom. I mean, Doom's legacy, it should be growing.
Absolutely.
You know, so. Agreed very much. And I'm not into the all cap. It's like I do always type in all caps because I don't do them because I don't want to hear anything about it. But like, I'm not. I wish he had come back and just say no. That's ridiculous. I can't stand it.
I I feel both ways about
Well,
it.
it's
You
like
know what
it's
I'm
like I
saying?
don't like the people who yell at other people about it, who are just like,
Right,
no,
right, right.
because I'm in a Facebook group where I think you can get kicked out for not using all caps. I'm just like,
I'll see that. Yeah, that's a bit extreme. I do like when people reference the line from the song.
yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? All caps when you
Let
spell
me
the
actually show
man
you
name.
something. Um, I got this artist Thumbs in the UK. I picked this thing up off of him. He made a limited number of these Garfield MF Doom things.
Oh, that is very cool.
And
Metal
it says
Claws.
warning all caps when you spell the cat's name.
Hey, that is very cool.
Yeah, it's dope. I love this thing.
See, and that's another thing. I love all like Doom merch, you know, and like Doom inspired art and Doom inspired merch. Like none of it to me is like out like you know what I'm saying? I love it all. I could never hate on somebody like wanting to be a Doom fan. He's just not the type of artist where you are upset about stands and like, you know, new fans like
Yeah. The other thing too is Doom's music. If you don't like it, you're not going to stick around and bother to say that you're like that he's great because it's not easily accessible. I mean, maybe it is more now
no.
than it used to be, but like
Right. I
whatever.
mean, it's definitely even my boss at my job literally told me a few weeks ago that he just discovered Doom. Like he
Yeah.
was playing him, and maybe this is another thing about Doom fans. Um, I assume anyone I hear listening to Doom openly has known about Doom for a long time.
Right.
I never assume that anyone listening to him is a new fan.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So that actually took me completely by surprise. And I was like, yo, that's amazing. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, thank you for discovering Doom because you're on the right track. You know what I'm
Right. Right.
saying?
Yeah. 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 It's funny too, because sometimes you'll see someone who passes away, a name I've heard of and didn't really know, and then I'll look up their music. I'm like, oh, they were good. And it's like, am I supposed to be like, oh, well, it's too late for me? Like,
Right, right, right.
what are
Nah,
we doing here,
absolutely.
people? All right.
Honestly, there's been artists that I didn't realize were no longer with us once I already became a fan. So,
Yeah, that's kind of heartbreaking. Yeah.
for sure.
Where did the title Dabs at Espresso come from?
It actually came from a derivative of Cushion Orange Juice by Wiz Khalifa.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that notable mixtape
Yep.
that he had. So kind of just a play on that. You know what I mean? And that's kind of why the cover has like kind of currency vibes to me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of the vibe I was going for with it. So that's
It's
really where
weird
it
that you're
came from.
explaining to me why the cover that I did is the way it is. And this is new information to me. So
You know, And that's the funniest thing about it is when you work with someone for long enough, like you kind of already kind of like know what is, you know what I'm saying? You kind of know
Yeah.
what the vibe is gonna be.
It's funny because like back in the day, if someone asked me to do an album cover, I'd be like, well, let me hear the album. But now I don't even think to ask like that. It's almost like irrelevant. It's like I'm like, what are you
Right,
going
right.
for? It's like you realize that it's
Hmm.
like you can just cut right to the chase and I'll hear it when it comes out,
Absolutely. I
So
mean, honestly, I feel like the cover art kind of determines the sound of the album in a sense.
it's
Like,
weird you say that because I don't know how it's putting that into words is difficult, but you are right. Like
y-
and it's like you say you can't judge a book by its cover, but I think in a lot of cases you can judge an album by its cover.
yes, you absolutely can,
And I
especially in hip hop.
Right. I every time I get like buy like a big thing of order big thing of records. I sometimes order from these places in Germany where we can get good deals on records. I'll always buy one that just by the cover and the vibe, and almost every time I get something amazing. It's
Yeah,
crazy. So, yep.
absolutely, man. Definitely an important part. And honestly, my run of albums would not have been the same, you know what I'm saying, without your artwork. You know what I'm saying? The recognition I got for the albums, the way that people respond to the albums. And I know a lot of those people have hit you up and told you, you know what I'm saying, directly, you know what I mean? Just like you know, how much the art does, you know, mean to them and kind of affect how they view my music, you know what I'm saying, in my situation. So shit, I appreciate it greatly. You know what I mean? It has taken me to different places and levels. The homies might be going out to Alaska to perform, you know? So
That's perfect because now I have a clip for the promo. So now I'm glad you're saying that. Speaking of Alaska, and I really appreciate that. I don't want to go much fast, but something weird happened the other day. So remember, like when we were talking about that thing with you sent me that picture that said Soma, and I mentioned it on the intro of the first episode, where you would send
hmm
me that. Okay, and you would send me a picture of a graffiti thing from Soma that said Soma that was taken in like 2012, like long before we ever talked to each other. And there was a picture of a cat there. And when you sent me that, I had sent you a picture that I did when I was a very little kid of like the same cat and the same colors, and it was a weird, bizarre kismet moment. Something very similar happened the other day with this dude. By this point, I think his episode might be next week. Yeah, it'll be next week. Wordplay, the flyest MC from Juneau, Alaska. I interviewed him the other day. This kid just cracked me up. He's so dope. He battles under a Pokemon mask, and he raps without it sometimes too. But he's been doing this for like less than a year, and he's killing it. So we're working on some
right.
songs with him. But he mentioned
Oh,
to me
y'all
that
got some songs coming?
we're working on one. We're working on one. So we can start talking about it.
Hey,
Yeah, I can't
yeah.
wait. So he mentioned to me that his album cover that someone he's working on is going to be based on this like Pokemon, some not Pokemon, but some anime related thing that had a wanted poster on it. And I don't know anything about anime, so I was like, I don't really know what you're talking about, but I whatever. So this morning, I'm sitting at my desk right here, and I look to my right, and I see my this external hard drive that I've had for years, and it has this sticker on it. And I sent it to him, and I'm like, "Is this what you're talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, that's exactly it." Now I don't know where this sticker came from. I don't know how it became in my possession. It's been on this old hard drive forever, and it was the exact thing that he was talking about in that moment.
That's
I
crazy.
was like, "All right, man, that's a sign. We're doing some stuff together." So he's stuck with me for now, whether he likes it or not. But yeah,
And that dude is awesome, by the
he
way.
is.
You know what I mean? That's who I've been chatting with about going to Alaska. So
Oh, we're even talking to him. Sweet.
yeah,
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 the
yeah.
dude, he's great, man. I was a fan of him right away. I was so glad, and there's another question that sort of touches on that in a minute too. But so glad to hook up with him, and I think he's got tons of promise. And if he's got a video of this rapper named Big Six where he battles. It was his first battle ever. He decided to wear the Pokemon mask like at the last minute, and he just killed it. Like I
Yeah,
just
I saw some footage of that actually a couple months ago on the gram.
Yeah. Yeah, you did? Oh, that's funny. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's yeah.
yeah, hell
So
yeah.
yeah, shout out to Wordplay. Yeah, man, keep doing your thing. It's awesome. All right, so to question number 34. As someone who has lived in Massachusetts my whole life, most of what I know about Texas is what I've learned through the media. I've only been there. I've been to Dallas, Fort Worth overnight once or twice. I've been to Austin for a few days. That's about it. What is something you think us Northerners get wrong about Texas and or the South in general?
Um, I would say maybe the amount of racism people think exists down here. I think is a little bit uh exaggerated, honestly, in some sense. Obviously, politically, that's a whole different situation. But on a social level, it's not nearly as much as I think people up north and in other areas feel like it is.
Right. That's interesting. It's funny. I almost thought you were going to say that, because I do think I see your point on that. With my experiences in the South. So,
For
but
sure.
the political thing. I was in South Carolina a lot a couple years ago, and there were I would see some ads on TV that I would not see up here.
Yeah, the politics are disgusting, you know what I'm saying? But the separation between daily living and political affiliation and identity is huge. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't really see those types of I guess you could say, like, pressures here. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's
Yeah.
just so low income, you know what I mean? And so uh economy based here in San Antonio, but everything's pretty chill, man. We don't have a lot of, political problems as far as, protesting, riots, et cetera, et cetera.
That's a plus, man. That's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
a
I mean,
plus.
I
I mean,
lived in
even with the
Portland.
XFL championship game happening there like last week,
That's as exciting as it gets
I
down
caught that
here,
in the news,
baby.
and it was like XFL championship game in San Antonio. I was like, all right,
Yeah,
that's what they have that.
that's as exciting as it gets, man.
Bonus question: who won that game?
Who was in it?
I know. He hate me. Is he still play?
Yeah,
Do you remember He Hate Me from the first XFL?
I do, and that
I
was
was
such a
at
funny name.
I went to the one Knicks game in my life in Madison Square Garden, and I was sitting many rows behind Spike Lee, and Spike Lee was wearing He Hate Me jersey.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. So, all right.
Spike
Let me see. What piece of music equipment would you most like to acquire? I saw this gold colored MPC the other day that I almost just went
Mhm.
well bang on, and I was like, no,
Mhm.
we're gonna hold off on that, and we're gonna wait till I have time to play with it, and that it's a reasonable expense. Do you have anything like that?
That sounds very luxurious.
My cat is
Um,
literally stepping on my drum machines now, so I need to replace one of those. But there she is.
shit. I would say maybe I I honestly really just would enjoy um like upgrading my computer system. Like I would just love like a just faster process, like just a top top shelf, state of the art computer system to be able to process studio sessions and that type of thing. Like obviously my computer system is perfectly fine, but I just feel like it's just so different when your system is state of the art, got touchscreen capabilities. You know what I mean? Like seamless integration between your plugins and stuff like
Dude,
that.
I'm recording. My music is recording. I record on a Mac from 2008 using Pro Tools, the M-Box 2 from about 2009. And everything else I have is modern as shit. My recording equipment, if I replace one thing, I have to replace everything. So I'm stuck in
Right.
the past until it breaks, unfortunately.
That's literally how it is most of the time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'm the same way, man. I record on my little laptop, you know what I mean? So I would definitely I mean, honestly, I wouldn't even mind like something where I could record um live performances directly like into my microphone.
Yep. That's yep.
Some
Good
shit
idea.
like that would be very fire, man, where it's capturing the live performance, but my live vocal is direct.
Yep. Yep. Cool. All right. Have you ever seen a UFO or something I mean, I guess
Yeah,
unidentified could be anything. You've seen something that you can't
exactly.
explain?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. You know what I mean?
I'm
I'm from
somebody
the
else to
swamp.
clarify that UFO does not necessarily mean
I
alien. It
mean,
just means something
alien.
you can't identify.
It does not necessarily mean alien. Yeah, all the time, man. I've taken middle of the night haunted swamp tours, on boats. I've, definitely love the strange, dark, and mysterious.
Yeah.
Shout out Mr. Ballin, you know what I'm saying? I love all of those types of stories. So
Sweet. All right, that's cool. Do you have any pre-show rituals or superstitions?
um I would say the two things mostly are going to be I have to practice. Like I don't care if I know the song a million times over. You know what I mean? Like practicing just makes me feel more comfortable with the set. It makes me feel more confident in my movements on the stage,
It's like stretching
etc.
before playing a game.
That's
It's
it,
yeah.
warm ups, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna throw the football around a few times, you're gonna shoot around, and get your form right. You never want to go out there just dry. Like, like the first words you said that day is now you're jumping on the stage.
Right, right.
Like, doesn't make much sense.
Which is
I
funny
would
because I
say
remember
that.
being in college, like I went to a BU or I went had a performance art school. People were always on like vocal rest, and they're like, you know, I'm like, then shut the fuck up. Like I shouldn't hear you at all.
Right. Rest it. Yeah,
This is my
for
ET
sure.
thermos from my vintage ET lunchbox. Speaking of ET, where I keep my edibles, like I keep 5 milligram
Hey,
gummies in here, so no one break in my
that's
house and
the
steal them.
that's the only thing that should go in
Yeah, really. Yeah. So, well, there's other stuff in there, but we'll talk about that later. Um,
there.
all right. So, do you think that an AI bot could ever write a song better than a person could?
Absolutely, for sure. Simply the percentage of usage of unique words is going to take a song to the next level with descriptive factors that some people just don't have the ability to do.
I feel like an AI bot could write a song like that Blue Daba Doo song that was like really big years ago. That blue. I mean, it could write "I'm a Barbie girl." Like, I mean, why not?
Right, for sure.
You know,
I
I
mean,
mean, it
it's
might not
it's
write like a
it,
Sage Francis song or like Bye Bye Miss American Pie, but
I can't say that it couldn't.
right,
If
right.
it can generate, interview questions and do
That's
algorithms
true.
and
Yeah,
data entry, it can do a lot of
yeah.
stuff.
I mean, I can do my job a little more stoned because of AI. So, what does that say? I get dumber, it
Exactly.
gets smarter. All right.
Come
Do you,
on.
do you think that AI bots believe that a person could ever write a song better than an AI bot could?
Yes, for now, because at the moment AI is still prone to, uh, I guess you could say, like, human flattery. You know what I'm saying? Like, AI isn't intentionally making us feel dumb at the moment, so much as it is trying to assist us.
You
You
know
know what
what's
I'm
funny?
saying?
I've told this story about AI a few times, but it still really cracks me up. That so I was playing around with ChatGPT one day. It's a tool that I think is great for some things. If you're trying to troubleshoot like how to do something in Photoshop, it's a great tool to use. Other things I found not so much, but I was asking it random questions, and my friend guest from episode 3, Kim Tronick, wrote a book called "How Does Cancer Make My Ass Look Fat?" Because he was a cancer diary, and so I just asked ChatGPT that question to see what it would say, and it responded back being like, "Look, you really shouldn't joke about cancer." And I go, oh, I wrote back, I was like, oh, like that was my friend's book title. And it responded with a more sincere apology than any human being has ever given me in my life. And I literally was just like, oh, I was like, oh, I felt weird. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That and
so,
that's the sentiment it's in right now.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But is it always gonna feel that way the more information it feeds,
Not according to 2001: A Space Odyssey or almost any other movie I've ever seen.
Exactly.
So
Oh, by the way, that's probably gonna be my next EP. Um
2001.
2024, A Dab Odyssey.
I have an entire room in my house dedicated to Stanley Kubrick, and I have the soundtrack to that record framed on my wall. So I'm down. Stanley
That's
Kubrick's my favorite
beautiful.
filmmaker of all time. I was literally woke up thinking about 2001 today, how I want to watch it because I haven't seen it in so long.
Hell yeah. That's like, I definitely am planning a EP around that for sure.
All right, man, let's talk about that because there's tons of cool art we could do about that. All right. Let me see. We are on question 40. What is the first thing you look at on your phone each morning?
Um, Money notifications. Like, I'm looking for people that were either like sending money or requesting money the night before, or money I forgot to send, or you know what I'm saying, anything like that. I
Yeah.
just like to make sure that I'm taking care of business early in the morning, so that I can focus more on like taking care of health.
Yep. Yep. Making money in your sleep. That's what it's all about. Um,
Absolutely.
41. What are common things that opening acts will do that will ensure that they will not be asked back next time?
Missing your set time
Yep.
for sure is a huge one. I'm also gonna say, any type of um negative attitude towards the crowd. I see a lot of artists get upset at the crowd for not responding in a
I was
certain
gonna ask
way.
you a question about this, but I end up deleting it for a different one. When the
Yeah,
opening act gets up there and it's like, "Yo, everybody up near the," it's like, dude, man, don't be so thirsty. It's not a good look.
yeah, 100%, man, and
Win
especially
them
at
over
bigger
one at a time.
shows.
Don't scream at them all at once.
Well, we've created that pressure through the culture of how much money these people are told they need to invest in these performances and situations. So if I've, spent $1,000 to be on this stage, um, and you've paid to be here, my hope is that, you want to come give me some attention. If I'm speaking from the perspective of somebody, what I'm saying, feeling that way, what I'm
Yep.
saying. I just think that the wrong way to go about that is to harass, or try and guilt trip the crowd in any type of way. You know what I'm saying? That is definitely a big red flag for me, and a perfect way to like not get included in my shows.
Right. How about people who give you not just the beat, but the actual song and want to rap over the song? Is that just a roll your eyes moment, or is that don't come back moment?
Um, I'm not gonna lie to you. That's not at all typical at my shows.
Oh, that's good.
Um, Not even because of a criteria that I use when booking, so much as one, the level of artists typically, and two, if they're familiar with how we do things, they
Right.
genuinely don't want to come like that. You know what I'm saying? If that's how they've been doing shows before, like they will try it the other way, like without the backing vocals on our shit. Because when you are going before or after somebody who executes well without it, it doesn't look good. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So yeah, it's not really something that I have to deal with at my shows personally, but when I go to shows, I hear it all the time. It's kind of just one of those things. I know people, um, half of it is going to be execution, the ability to get up there and rap your rhymes and perform your rhymes like you do on the album for your crowd. But the other half of the culture is entertainment, and we can't forget that part of it.
Yep. It's funny. I opened for Onyx years ago, and if I remember correctly, they had the actual songs instead of it. But like I think it was just to add more hype because Onyx is so hyped to begin with. It didn't like I
Absolutely.
noticed it, but I wasn't like, it was like, and this was before I ever saw everybody else ever do that. So to me, it's just kind of like, oh, why would they do that? I haven't actually seen rappers do that at like opening acts till like years later, but yeah, not a good
Absolutely.
habit. It's
I also don't want, if you know that your vocal performance isn't the you don't have the most projection or it's not the strongest, at least give yourself some ad libs or a little something to boost you up on your
yeah,
performance track. Just a
yep.
little tip.
Or get a hype man that actually knows the verse. I've definitely gone up there a few times on songs I thought I knew for other people and dropped the ball. So don't do that. Sorry about that, Judge the Disciple. All right. What is something that every rapper should know before they go up on stage for the first time? Sort of an extension of
um,
the last one.
the one thing that I would say for sure is to practice.
Yep.
Make sure that you practice, because the worst thing you can do is not be familiar with your own music.
Yep. And I'd add to that is it's a job till you're off stage, then it can be a party. It shouldn't be a party before it's a job. And that's a different
Oh yeah,
line for
yeah,
different
yeah.
people, but like, it's yeah.
Nobody's telling you you can't feel good and do your thing, but you are there to do a particular job. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right.
A
You know,
a good example of that is Nas. I've seen him damn near drink half a bottle of Hennessy on stage.
right.
You know what I'm
And he's
saying?
not, I'm sure he's not slurring his speech though. Like I'm
No, he's crispy.
right. And if you can't do that and not slur your speech, then you shouldn't do it.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
Nas is probably doing it just to show off.
Man, it was Rock the Bells,
Oh
so yeah.
man. Uh for every one song that you record and release, how many do you record and not release? That's
Um, I would say 75 to 80% of the music gets released for sure. Um, If
I'm
it
about the
doesn't
same
get really,
way. Because if I get to
yeah,
the end, I really like it a lot. I'll abandon some stuff 50% of the way through, but if I get that far, it's probably gonna come out.
exactly. I like to complete visions, and I don't really mind like dropping. I'm not someone who's very picky.
Yep. Yep. All right, question 44. If you could actually go into space as an astronaut for 2 weeks, oh, you take that?
Uh,
Oh, oh, sorry. I was too busy wrapped up my own shit. If you could actually go into space as an astronaut for 2 weeks, but you had to dedicate a year of your life to training, education, and family. I'm adding in family because I'm not going to tell you to go without it. Would you be willing to temporarily give up working on music to do so?
absolutely, for sure. It depends on who is the company in overseeing this
Yeah, it's
expedition.
yeah. You don't want to turn into a
You know what I
sci-fi
mean?
movie or something.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I see rockets blowing up and stuff like that. Not all launches are
Dude,
successful.
I watched the Challenger explode live on television in the first grade in my class. And it was the
That's
teacher that one of the astronauts who died was from not far from where I grew up. It was a strange experience that I'm still talking about to this day.
you know what I mean? So yeah,
Feel
it
bad for all
just
the teachers
depends.
that had to explain that to their kids.
I mean, shit. Hey, that's how it used to be though. You know what I mean? Like we used to actually have to witness and experience these types of things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now
That
just shit
that's
blows up
life.
every day and we're just desensitized by it. So
Exactly.
Um, okay. Records, tapes, CDs, and MP3s have all been gradually replaced now by streaming, and that's the most common way to hear music. What do you think could replace streaming?
Physical music.
You think, yeah, I mean, it's funny. I've been flipping back around and I listen to a lot more vinyl now than I do streaming.
Yeah, I'm definitely listening to a lot more CDs now. A lot of the artists that I work with and a lot of the artists I know are now dropping CDs. You know what I'm saying? And for me, the sound quality from a CD is just so much more familiar and nostalgic from how I grew up. It sounds so much more dynamic to me than like flattened MP3s and shit. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I would say it's gonna circle back around to physical music. I see people selling tapes a lot now. I
Yeah.
see, I got, didn't you have a beat tape? You got a beat tape.
Yeah. Yeah. I sent you
Yeah,
one. Yeah. I just bought this tape
yep.
from this dude, Tone Tank, who's nasty.
Hey,
This tape is sick. So check this out on his
yeah,
website.
man.
Yeah. I got my
I
Ghetto
have
Boys Can't Be Stopped tape here. And
I got a
actually,
bit
one of the
um
greatest hip hop albums of all time, Eric B. and Rakim.
oh, on tape.
Yep,
Nice.
paid in full, the original
Yeah,
tape.
that's a great tape to have.
Yeah.
Is it just like a clear like stock tape?
Uh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's an old school. That's an
Yep.
original right there.
Yep.
And see, I prefer it like that. You know what I mean? If it's modern or if it's, what I'm saying, from back then, because now people have colors and all of these
Right,
like,
right.
3D printed designs and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, yeah, for
give me,
sure.
give me a brown, faded, smoke ridden, dusty joint. I got Ready to Die, Biggie on tape, man.
Oh my God. I get the pencil out and screw the thing in. All
Hell
right.
yeah.
If you had 10 more hours a week to dedicate to music, how would you spend that time?
I would definitely do a lot more collaborations, a lot more writing. I feel like the amount of energy and time, like that cross section that must occur for you to really get writing done, is not as common nowadays. You know what I'm saying? And
You
that's
need
the
to make
interesting
time for I
part.
have to make time for it, I find. To
Yeah,
write, it's
yeah,
not just something I can just do in my spare time. There has to be a block of time. I have to be in the right setting and
for sure. And I always wonder how that affects the creative process. You know what I'm saying? Like when it was done kind of as I felt like it before, but now it's like, oh, I have to put my mind into this writing state. It becomes more mechanical than organic.
yeah. It's funny. I've been working on this spoken word piece that's going to go on my upcoming album, You're Scaring the Ducks. I forgot the title for a second. And it's called Assault Rifles Also Stop Beating Hearts. And it's comparing like assault rifle, it's comparing like, the gun debate with abortion and all that stuff. We're going full on with it.
Hell
And I
yeah.
just heard the term Planned Parenthood earlier today, and now it's all I can think about. Like a play on Parenthood, when making fun of like white
Oh,
Karens. Planned Parenthood is one of the funniest things I've heard in a long time.
And that's a tongue twister in itself for sure.
Yeah. So, and I know I was talking about something else, but I already forgot what it was. So we're just gonna move on to what is the nerdiest thing about you?
Um, hmm, I would say probably shit, how much I fuck with hip hop, man. I would say just the level of, you know what I'm saying, the
Yeah.
depths of which I'm willing to discuss and get into hip hop, you know what I mean? It's something that like I on the list of things I know well, that's gonna be top two or three, you know what I'm
Because hip
saying?
hop is a
So
nerdy pursuit for people who really love it.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
like
it is.
it's a lot of cataloging information and yeah, it's
Backstories and research and watching documentaries and listening to interviews and stuff like that before podcasts were a thing, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Reading interviews
yeah,
before audio interviews were a thing, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, like
So
in like Source magazine and all that stuff. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I feel you. That's like my fifth most nerdy thing.
and,
uh
I wish there was more for me. I mean, honestly, I would say maybe weed. You know what I'm saying? If you
yeah,
you know if you, drug shit, getting into drugs, I can be real nerdy about narcotics. So
yeah, yeah. Um, because it's funny, like I heard someone say once, being a nerd isn't about what you like, it's about how you like it.
absolutely, you know.
All right. So if you're an opening act performing at a show, do you think it's important to stay around for the rest of the show to see all the other acts?
Um, No, I don't think that it's important to see all the other acts at all.
I'm with you.
Because in a reciprocative way, uh, are they all there to see you? You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where I'm gonna stay and support as long as I can. You know what I'm saying? And definitely show love. But ultimately, once I've done my job, like my obligation is fulfilled. Anything that I give past that is courtesy, hopefully a common courtesy, you
Right.
know what I'm saying, to at least stay a little bit. But
Or you really
not
generally want, yeah, I feel like I'm not there to pad someone's ego or to be like to be like a stand-in or an extra in the crowd.
yeah, not at
I,
all.
I I
Not
wouldn't want anybody, I wouldn't ask anybody to do that for me, and I wouldn't want them to. That's something that's kind of been big in some scenes, and it's something that I'm just like, no, you earn every person who watches you play.
absolutely. Well, hopefully, the hope, for me is that I'm going to be open enough for shows where the artist that I'm opening up for, I want to stay
Right.
for
Yep.
anyway. We did the Devin the Dude show, and we'll be doing the Boldy James show a week from now.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, July 18th.
And where's that?
So that's going to be in Austin, Texas.
I'm gonna guess it's gonna be
Um,
sold out by the time that this airs, but if
Yeah,
not,
if not, July 18th, man, a week from now, basically, you know what I'm saying, we'll be opening up for Boldy James. So
man,
definitely want to like I said, I'm a stand for
right.
that. Yeah, I'm staying.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's like there's certain I was thinking about the other day. I was helping copyright, I helped him design the cover to his new single, and DJ Mighty Mai produced it. And I was like, that's one more name on the list of people that I can say I did work for. And I started thinking of who the list was, and I'm like, it's like, I mean, it's not like I'm like Russell Simmons, but I'm like, I didn't expect there to be that many names and still adding more. It's exciting,
Every day. I mean, you are keeping a record of it, I imagine, right? You know what I'm
It's
saying?
all up here. I did a cover for Blueprint without even knowing it, which was
Okay.
like this random kid named MF Bread. So if you're watching out there, what's up, man? I forget where he's from, some state I've never been to. I don't know if it was Nebraska, but it was a state that in my mind is like around that area. Sorry, I don't know the area very well. And he hit me up to do like like it's a logo for MF Bread, and I was like, hey, why not? If someone's nice and is like it's cool to me, I have no problem doing it. So I just did it, sent it to him, forgot about it, and then all of a sudden it comes out in a single, and it's this dude featuring Blueprint, and I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, if you had told me that, you would have got like, I would have given you, the whatever. But like I thought that was kind of funny.
Hell yeah. But that's the thing about doing art for people, you know what I'm saying? You never really know how
Right.
far it's gonna reach or who it's gonna reach. And when you do stuff out of just genuinely wanting to do it, the quality level is going to attract, you know what I'm saying, the people that it should.
Yep.
And I'm sure, Blueprint saw it and loved it. You know what
Yeah.
I
Yep. Hope so. I don't know.
mean?
How late can bars and clubs stay open in San Antonio?
2 o'clock.
Oh, you get the late curfew. I guess it's not late compared to a lot of the places. I'm thinking about
Yeah,
where I live.
I'm from New Orleans, man.
Oh, yeah, and shit. Yeah. Boston was
Two is
always in the
early.
early side. Two, I think it was two in Boston, but it never, yeah. I don't know. There's only like one after hours club when I used to go out partying, but
I just wish there was more late night food options.
yeah, yeah. We don't, I mean, come out where I am. You can order cookies till like 4 in the morning. That's about it. Um, the good cookies though.
Yeah,
Who in your
insomnia for sure.
That's who it is. Zombie.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. I already
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Who in your life is the most supportive of your wildest ideas? And that's question 50.
I would say AP Beats for sure. You know what I mean? He has definitely like heard the best of them and the worst of them as far as ideas. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely my go-to filter for a lot of things. Like sometimes it's as simple as like, yo, am I tripping right now? Like,
Yeah.
is what I'm thinking about this project, the direction I want to go, just outlandish? Like, and he will either put it into a framework where it's more digestible to other people, or he'll just let me know that, you know what I'm saying, nah, that's definitely a miss, man. Because I come up with ideas all the time, man.
Oh yeah. I definitely have some friends that I text. I'm like, is this the greatest thing I've ever written or the stupidest thing you've ever heard? And it's like when you find someone who'll give you an honest answer, that's a super valuable, it's super
It
valuable.
is, and the only reason why I wouldn't say like a partner or a family member or something is because I feel like it is always has a little bit of that sparing your feelings because of love type of
Right,
situation. You
right,
know what I'm saying? Where a person like AP Beast, he loves me for sure. He got mad love for me, you know what I'm saying? But that type of love is going to be the kind where he needs me to know the truth. You
right.
know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
Because, and that's invaluable.
Yeah, as one advice I give people, don't rely on your family and your friends who aren't into your thing to sort of prop you up. It's like if you have friends that are into hip hop, that's one thing, you're doing hip hop, but like don't rely on your family for that stuff. It needs to come, it needs to come from someplace else. There's too much other emotions and other stuff wrapped up in that.
Look, hit me up. You know what I'm saying? If you
Yeah,
out there and you need somebody to give you, you know what I'm
they'll
saying,
tell
an
you.
honest assessment of some bars or whatever you got going on, hit me up, man. I'll
Don't ask
definitely
me. I'm too nice. I don't like giving bad news.
right. Well, shit. I think there's always a good way to put something.
I've
Uh,
gotten better at it. Yeah, but I just
yeah.
like yeah. All right, whatever. We'll go on to the next one. Did I skip one? I don't know. Oh, what are your plans for the release day of Dabs and Espresso? Monday, July 10th, International Dabs Day.
Um, I would say my my plan for the rollout really is just to get that phrase dab raps, you know what I'm saying, and get that idea of that even being a thing in people's heads, you know what I'm saying. So I'm gonna do a lot of if I was to compare it to something, I'm thinking like a Zoo York applied directly to the forehead type of campaign, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, like
Yep.
flashing dabs, 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 dabs. You know what I'm saying? I maybe have like 200 videos plus of me taking dabs that I plan to get chopped up into promotion for the album and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I have a lot of traveling that I also plan to incorporate into that promotion as far as dabbing in just obscure places. As well. Indoors, outdoors. Scenery, restaurants, wherever. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of doing like a bombing type campaign.
Sweet. That's awesome. Who is your favorite rapper that your average rap fan may not know?
I would say right now it has to be Nux. There's a
I'm
guy.
a little familiar with Nux. I don't know too much, so I'll have to check him out.
He's from over the pond. You know what I'm saying? He's from somewhere in the UK, somewhere in Great Britain, whatever that place is over there.
Yeah.
And he's fire, man. He's self-produced. He does like a very UK drill type of sound as far as his beats and his vocals go, but his subject matter is extremely versatile. He does so many different types of songs. I love all his collaborations. He's very adventurous with his beats. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna get a lot of different types of inspirations in his drill sound. It's just real interesting music. So
Check
yeah,
that out.
Nux.
It's a lot of cool
Yeah,
UK rap.
KNUCKS. Make sure y'all look that up for sure.
Awesome. I want to check out some classic UK rap. Check out the first Streets album. I actually have a poster of it right there, original pirate material.
Yeah, I
I
see it
love
behind
it.
you.
Yeah,
Hell
it's
yeah.
dope. So that's from like
What
20 years ago.
was there a particular like what did they call it at the time?
I don't know because I just remember seeing that I got that album's like 20 something years old. And it's just popped. I used to just read like Rolling Stone and find whatever 5-star albums were sort of indie and just try to find them. This is like back before it was in the internet that much. And I
For
just saw
sure.
that got a lot of reviews and I just found it. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they're
Are
really
you
calling
familiar with
it.
like UK grime, like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
movement?
yeah. It's
Yeah.
not quite that. It's
Okay, okay.
but I don't know. It's just like a nerdy white dude
Just
who
hip
talks about
hop.
getting
Yeah,
drunk and like fighting and stuff, and he does different voices. He's dope. His name's Mike Skinner. He's been around for years now, but he's probably huge over there, but over here, some people probably know him and a lot of people don't. But UK's got a lot of good hip hop.
absolutely.
Okay, what is your favorite dish to cook?
I would say definitely it's gonna right now it's probably gonna be like a sweet and spicy shrimp over brown rice type of dish. You know what I mean? I definitely been into eating these big ass like Argentine shrimp that they have at the grocery store here, man. Other than that, I like frying. I'm in the getting my deep fryer out, you know what I'm saying, and frying up some chicken, frying up some French fries, you know what I'm saying, and I'm that type of guy. Like I like dipping.
Yeah, I'm a grilled swordfish man myself. I'm deathly allergic to shellfish. But
Okay,
that's
yeah,
one
yeah, I
that
love
that is
fish.
one of the nerdier things above like right above like hip hop for me in the top four. It's my food allergies. But grilled swordfish is my favorite. Um, all right. I had struggled to enjoy old pro wrestling matches with Chris Benoit, who famously killed his family and then himself. As I'm a big
Mhm.
fan of pro wrestling, and it's hard for me to listen to Kanye's music since his recent deep end jumping. Are you able? But there's some artists who that doesn't bother me as much for. Are you able to separate the art from the artist?
Um,
And I don't think there's a right answer to this question too. I just want to throw that out there.
yeah,
I think
no,
it's.
there's
I
never
think.
right or wrong, you
Yeah.
know. I think
So I don't want to hear about how great Hitler's paintings are. That's the
right.
line. Like.
For sure. Nah, I think that, like you said, there's always different scenarios with the situation, but I definitely feel like it depends on the egregiousness of the transgression. You know what I'm saying? It depends on what did they do? You know what I mean? Like why is this person's character even being called into question?
Yeah.
Um, and if we're even considering separating the two, then that means maybe something has occurred. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
shit, most of the time, nah, I don't say I separate them too much, man. Like a person like Big Pun, for instance, you know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah. There's
don't
some baggage
listen.
there. Yep.
Yeah, I don't really listen to Big Pun like that. You know what I'm saying? And because of my own reasons, you know what I'm saying? So just certain, it depends on what it was. Typically anything having to do with domestic stuff or kids, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I can't you can't get no spin over here, you know what I mean? So
Yep. Yep. I know what you're saying, man. All right. Have you found any tricks or tips to get your music heard by more people in streaming services that you're willing to share?
absolutely. I would say do not underestimate playlist pitching. You know what I'm saying? There's definitely a lot of services and websites where you are like pitching your music to playlist curators. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are buying directly onto a playlist, that's a little bit different than what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Which I don't knock any direction people want to go.
Right.
But I prefer having some type of communication and more specifically curated playlists, you know what I'm saying? Where You're able to see percentage of submissions, percentage of acceptances. You're able to get dialogue on why you were or were not accepted and those types of things. So I would say playlist pitching is definitely something that people want to do to get your streaming numbers up as well as your exposure in other areas.
Well, I'll have to ask you about that offline too, because I that's something I wasn't very familiar with. So cool.
Hell yeah.
So I use this podcast to solve all my problems. Do you consider any music too sacred to be sampled, or is pretty much anything in play as long as you flip it right? And I think about this because I once made a beat out of Smells Like Teen Spirit, and someone's like, "Nah, you can't do that with that." And I'm just like, whatever.
I don't think there are any rules when it comes to it. You know what I'm saying? I think
Same.
the whole point of hip hop from the beginning was it was an anti-culture movement. You know what I'm saying? It was something where it was meant to not have um I'm not going to say not have rules, but it was meant for limits to be pushed and for new sounds to be discovered. I think the main difference is that before it used to be fun, the mystery of where something was sampled from.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And even trying to diagnose a sample because of the way that it was chopped up and it was used. Nowadays, I feel like trying to make your sample as blatant as possible is what's popular. And
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of takes the fun out of the situation. Like, you know, like,
It's
all
funny. I
right,
really like, is it Coyle Ray? Is that's her name, right? I
mm-hmm,
love I that player song, I absolutely love. And then
right,
but that's obviously a sample we've heard a lot. And
a
then
lot,
the next song she released, one of them was the Night at the Roxbury song. And I'm like, well,
right,
we're
right.
following a pattern, and it's working. And I'm not because I think she's amazing. But I definitely was like, wow, I
That's a
noticed
thing.
they're going for these really big samples again, and it's working.
Well,
Those are good songs.
that's how hip hop dissolves and whatever it becomes next is created. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It starts to veer from hip hop to just basically being pop sampling and recreating these, you know what I'm saying, already familiar and popular sounds. You know,
I'm
that
also
wasn't what hip
realizing
hop
now
was.
that Night at the Roxbury song may be only really well known to me because I'm old, and to anybody today, it might be a classic rock song that you've heard like maybe once.
No, I feel like culturally it's still super relevant. Like people still definitely know what that is.
All right, cool. All right. What do you feel are the cornerstones of personal health?
Um, I would say staying active, staying hydrated.
Sitting is the new smoking, people. I say as I'm sitting, but sitting is the new
Yeah,
smoking.
it is. You got to stay active. You got to stay hydrated. And then I would also say finding a hobby or
Yep.
finding something that you like to do. Um, Nowadays, it's like alarming how many people I talk to that just don't really have nothing they like to do. Like anything, whether it be a board game, card game, video game, skateboarding. They just don't have no hobbies. And I think that is like a fast track to a lot of exacerbated conditions that we feel, you know what I'm saying, depression and all that type of shit.
Yep.
Because people don't have anything that they're invested in emotionally and mentally, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what hobbies used to give us.
Yep. I'll add
Yeah,
too, like know how to do the laundry, know how to cook, know the basics of all those things too. Because when you don't know how to take care of yourself, that's also a pit of depression and dependence, and it messes up your most. Like I live with my girlfriend. We share responsibilities and stuff, but we can both do everything. Like she's not afraid to take the
absolutely.
trash out. There may be some day where she that's their only option. Maybe the same day. It's like you just don't be too big to do anything. It's
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a vicious cycle for people. You know what I'm saying? Energy wise and motivation wise. You know what I'm saying? They don't feel motivated to do it, but then not doing it is what creates
yeah.
that feeling. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I agree with you. That's something that as far as the artists, you know what I'm saying, that I manage and the artists that I work with, that's something that I emphasize all the time. You know what I'm saying? You definitely want to be able to be in a clean environment, be clean yourself, and make
Yeah.
sure that you are putting good things inside your body. You know what I'm saying? You don't always have to eat healthy ass food, but also don't be neglectful. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep, yep. It's funny. Like I remember 50 Cent once referred to some album as the album he puts on when he's cleaning his place. And what I took from that is like 50 Cent cleans his own place. And I'm like, it's like there is something like therapeutic about like, you don't want everything to be done for you. Like,
Nah, nah.
it's that's not the dream or the goal. That doesn't, help. You need to be able to take care of yourself. I don't know who I'm
Like
talking
rich
down to
people
right
cutting,
now.
but rich people cutting their own grass. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's just one of those situations where you just want to, make sure that you're staying centered, whatever it
Yep.
is that you're doing. You know.
Yep. Let me see. Do you ever plan on pressing up any vinyl of your music?
We were actually talking about that not too long ago. Doing some vinyls of Prosperity.
Oh, cool. I love that album. I have a
Yeah,
tie-dyed Prosperity shirt that I made, and I was looking for it all over the other day to try to make a post for that album. I can't fucking
look,
find it, but I'll find it, and that
man.
post will come.
Hell yeah, man. The Prosperity album is definitely one of my favorites. And if I was gonna do some vinyl, that would definitely be the album that I would get.
Good call. All right, we're at 20 questions left.
Hell yeah.
Who are a few MCs that you think are totally slept on?
I would say slept on.
I'm gonna just throw mine out while you're thinking. Tretch from Naughty by Nature is criminally slept on.
For
Sticky
sure.
Fingers from Onyx. We mentioned this in the last episode. One of the few people to probably body Eminem on a track on the Marshall Mathers LP. He's totally
Right, right.
underrated. Elza, I'll throw his name out again. I think I said the last time. I don't know what that dude. He should be like. He's amazing. He's as good as they get. And if you're not listening to
Right, right.
Elza,
Um
Elzhi.
Elzai is on my list for sure. I would say Sci High is on my list for sure. I would probably put it's a tough one. Maybe I'd put Binary Star
Ooh, wow, where did you pull that out of?
on
I
mine,
haven't thought of that,
honestly.
thought of Binary Star in a long time. Good
Yeah, that
call.
Masters of the Universe album is probably one of the most slept on albums
Definitely.
probably I know of, honestly. His verse on uh that what is that song that's most popular on that album? But his verse on that song is probably one of my favorite verses of all time. You know what I'm saying? That's an amazing album. So yeah,
Yep.
Binary Star.
Excellent. All right, cool. All right. How often do you change your lyrics while you're recording? Do you usually stick with a page or do you still like are you still trying to find the rhythm as you're going, as you're recording?
Um,
I'm the latter, but I record most of my own stuff myself, so it's not like anybody else is waiting there for me. I just like to I
right,
kind of the last round of writing for me happens while I'm recording.
for sure. I would say um I change stuff all the time. Yeah, it really doesn't bother me to swap out lines or to figure out how to say something in a more, fitting or appropriate way for what I'm trying to convey. It really
Yeah.
doesn't bother me.
Until
Sometimes
you
I'll do
hear
it
it,
even.
yeah, until you hear it back, your own voice in the headphones, it's different from hearing it in your head, like when you're saying it,
Absolutely.
So I think it's a big part of the process. I'm impressed
100%.
whenever rappers come in with it totally and all of it down. I'm like, oh shit. All
I
right.
do. I mean, sometimes that's the thing too, as well, depending on how long I'm going between recording.
Yep.
There may be times I've completely memorized when I'm ready to go record.
Yep. If someone wants to be a rapper but has never put two words together, what advice would you give them to get started?
I would say to um, definitely take your time. I feel like there's this misconception that you need to be able to write a rap really fast. I would say that you don't ever need to feel like you need to start and finish a rap or rap song in one sitting. You know what I'm saying? There's times where I'll go back to a verse where I've only written 4 bars so far. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
there's absolutely no rush. So I would say, hey, take your time and just make every line something that you really vibe with.
Yeah. Also, I hear Royce the 5'9" has said a few times, he works with young artists a lot at his Heaven studio, and I've heard him said he's like, rewrite it. You think it's done, rewrite it. You think it's done, rewrite it. And it's true. I mean, because it's like I end up playing Jenga with my bars, and some of the ones that I thought were the best end up getting pushed out, and it's just you just keep rewriting it, and be faithful to
Yep.
the song, not to like what makes you like pop. Um,
Yes.
what are some things you want people to know about Apollo Black, or that people should know about Apollo Black? Who's somebody who, thank you very much, he sang the hook on I Know, the smash hit with Concept of Hashtronaut and Soma 79 and Apollo Black and AP Beats and Filthy Beats. But what he's very talented. Made me laugh on Instagram. What should people know about him?
I would say the main thing that they need to know is that he is self-produced. He writes, creates his own beats, and typically records himself as well. You know what I'm saying? He's an entirely self-sufficient artist. And he has a very, very unique style and cadence, you know what I'm saying? And just, overall quality to his music. So I would say if you want to hear something a little bit different and unique, but 100% authentic to who the person is. That is definitely, Apollo is who they should check out.
Yep. Still, he produced the whole album. Remind that again,
Yeah.
produced all of
Yep.
Dabs and Espresso, coming out on July 10th, National Dab
And
Day.
the beats are fire.
Yeah. All right. As a sorry, as a white mid-40s, slightly autistic rapper who hasn't released an album in 10 years, has very little following for the music, does not really enjoy leaving the house, what advice can you give me on the release of my upcoming albums, You're Scaring the Duck and Drinking Songs for Children?
I would say to continue pushing the unique artwork and content. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the cartoons and kind of the animated things and showing the process is a large part of it as well. You know what I'm saying? Like you definitely want to give more insight into the process, into the development of the album leading up to it. That's going to generate interest in it. That's going to make people feel like they're a part of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's who you really want listening to it once it comes out, are the people that are anticipating it and excited about it.
It's a good comment. Some of the footage that we've shot, like I had Pillsy over here, we were shooting this commercial, and we were laughing so hard. I turned to him, I'm like, I feel like I made the entire album just so that we could sit here and make these jokes because it was like so enjoyable. I was like, this is what it's all about. And I'm like, I cannot wait to share this with people. Like it's
Hell yeah.
so it's gonna be weird. All right, cool. Let me see. Who do you look at as the pioneers of Texas hip hop? I think of the Ghetto
Um,
Boys. The Ghetto Boys were everything to me. We can't be
they're
stopped.
absolute, yeah, they're absolutely up there. Ghetto Boys and Scarface. UGK is a huge
Yes.
one.
Yes, huge.
I would say now though, Travis Scott is a major player in the game as far as representatives of Texas go. I would say Megan Thee Stallion is a huge person as far as representing Texas goes. But yeah, Bun B, Pimp C, Scarface, the Ghetto Boys. Um, yeah, that's really who's gonna be, the ultimate.
Who?
Obviously you got your Paul Wall, Mike
Yeah.
Jones, Slim Thug.
Yeah. Who's the biggest rapper that's come out of San Antonio? Because I know most of the guys are from Texas, but I don't know where in Texas most of them are from, except for the Ghetto Boys.
Man, that is tough, honestly. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say the biggest rapper I know of is Southside Hoodlum,
Okay.
who is a more current rapper, but he is definitely who I would say is the most famous rapper I know of out of San Antonio.
Wait. All right.
Like touring overseas and all of that type of stuff.
All right. Question 66. How important is it for a rapper to know how to freestyle off the top of the head?
I don't think it's important at all. Like, I don't think it's a skill that's necessary to be successful. I don't think it's a skill that's necessary to excel at rapping in general. But I do find that it is a fun and useful tool to have in your arsenal. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely something that you want to practice. If you don't, it's definitely something that um it's like going to the gym and doing, like, the exercises that you don't do as often sometimes.
Yep.
You definitely want to make sure you're uh exercising every muscle at least every now and then.
One good point about freestyling off the top is that it can be tough to impress other rappers with freestyling off the top, but it's really easy to impress non-rappers with freestyle off the top. And one
It's
thing, so people are
absolutely
like, yo, I saw this video where this guy was throwing out words and he was rapping to him. And I'm like, you don't get it. That is easier than like if you made up off the head, because someone's feeding you something and your brain gets anchored to it. I'm like, it's a parlor trick. It's like a magician's
right.
trick. It's like, but it looks
Absolutely.
harder to people. And it's that's why it's kind of a cool thing. It's like, I can freestyle a little some days better than others, but it's like it is worth having in your arsenal. And it's
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, me personally, I think that once again we got to remember even freestyling was really a form of entertainment.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, freestyling originated as a form of entertainment, a form of way to pass time. It
Right.
was never something that was supposed to be like this super, super intense, competitive situation until it became that. You know what I'm saying? Culturally speaking, you know what I'm saying? Freestyle battling, and who is freestyling the best in the cipher, and that type
Right.
of thing.
Think of
You
like
know?
an 8 Mile, like Eminem in the Food Line. It's like that is like it's a
Yes.
slow paced freestyle where they're just killing, where it's like he's killing time, and it's like
Hmm.
because a lot of people try to freestyle too fast. If you're going over no beat, you can slow it down to the speed of your brain and get away just fine. And that's something I
Yeah.
think a
I
lot of
mean,
people forget.
I think you're going to execute a lot better when you're able to actually like absorb what's happening around you and just source from, you know, uh, everything around you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, I was there when Super Nat broke the freestyle record. You know what I
Really?
mean? Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Wow.
And that was
That guy's
that was
wild.
insane. You know what I mean? But the ability to derive your bars from what's around you is a key part of it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Let me see. One of the goals of this podcast is to help create more community around the different independent scenes in hip hop, particularly the ones that don't get much attention. I recently interviewed Wordplay to Fly SMC from Juneau, Alaska. We are now collaborating on track together, and you were talking to him as well. Are there
Hell
any
yeah.
other smaller, so now I'm thinking about trying to find other regions like that are there any smaller regions, cities or whatever you think that we should try to do the same thing where we try to find the best rapper in town and get him on the podcast and form a connection there.
Hell yeah. I mean, I think there are tons of like, towns and cities that would love just to be highlighted in any type of way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like hip hop runs deep in some places where nobody is really checking for the hip hop from there. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
definitely see the potential
I'm thinking
places.
Hawaii. I'm probably gonna try to find somebody out in Hawaii. So if anybody from Hawaii is watching, hit me up. Um,
I know some MCs in Hawaii for sure.
Sweet, this is coming together fast.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely know some MCs in Hawaii and some MCs overseas even. If
Sweet.
we want to go international with it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's super fun to like find people on Instagram like, oh, like this person is definitely in my wheelhouse and we can definitely work on
Yeah.
stuff together. And it's been one of the most fun things about doing this is being able to do that type of stuff. So all right, so hopefully more to come with that. If you are looking out there from some small hip hop scene, hit me up. I want to know what it's all about. We'll get to
Yeah, for
help you get the
sure.
word out. Let me see. What are some things that non-hip hop fans don't understand about hip hop? And that's question 68.
Um, I don't think they understand that there's different like how should I put it? There's different dimensions to it. You know what I'm saying? In the sense of, okay, we understand that there is a, toxic side of it. We understand that there is a certain depiction of violence and drugs in that culture. And we also understand that there's like industry plant, hyper pop, we also
Yep.
understand that that is a dimension of it. Hip hop comes in so many different ways that a lot of people miss quality music because they are too focused on one particular dimension of it, you know?
They paint it with too broad of a brush.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And I think that there's something in hip hop for everybody.
good
Um,
point. Yep, there is.
you know,
I
you
mean, think
just
about
gotta
how much different our upbringings are, and we have so many of the same like influences, and it's like it's hip hop brings it together.
It does. That's really why I even got into it. Was for the community and collaborative aspect. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to make different types of stuff. Like I didn't want to stick to one type of subgenre or one type of style of beat or anything like that. Like I genuinely wanted to branch out. The international thing, like I said, like when I started collabing with people from overseas, thanks to SoundCloud, and stuff like that. Um, Bandcamp was another one that helped me do some overseas collabs. Uh, that let me know that I definitely was doing it, for the right reasons and with that passion. And
Yeah. It's funny. I see even on Spotify, a lot of my listens are from like they're from all over Europe, which just blows my mind. It's like, that it's like they do love American hip hop over in Europe, you
for
know?
sure, I think another part of that really is how like hip hop comes in so many different forms to different people. You know what I'm saying? Like no, like Japanese hip hop is not like less authentic to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just because it
Exactly.
came from overseas or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I genuinely I love all forms of it. You know what I'm saying? I listen to hip hop from all different types of countries for sure.
Yeah. Still two turntables and a microphone. So
Yes,
all right.
sir.
What is the right level of fame success to shoot for?
Um, the ability to do it at your own pace and it not affect your quality of life.
Yep.
You know,
That's exactly what I was thinking when I was writing the question. Yep.
yeah, you just really want to be able to pay your mortgages or bills or whatever. You definitely want to be able to make sure you're housed and fed and your family's taken care of. Um, and from there, anything more than that is really just a blessing. You know what I'm saying? Any type of
Yeah.
excess or notoriety, in public and that type of thing, like, all of that is cool. But if you can't even, you know, pay your rent, then you need to be aiming a little bit higher. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep. So we have 10 questions left. What technical or art skill do you want to develop?
I really want to get better at video editing so that I can create my own music videos. The syncing of footage to the video, like with the song, like matching the
Yeah.
words to the video.
It's harder than you think.
It is so painstaking for me. You know
Do
what
you
I'm
use the do
saying?
you use the clapper?
Like to be on rhythm.
No, like all right. So like whenever you see like a film when they do the thing in the beginning where they clap the thing.
Oh no 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 no
Okay.
no.
Because that's how you match it. I mean, that's the technical way to do it. That they're matching sound and video by doing that.
Ah, okay, that makes
Because
sense.
what you do is like you find the exact moment when the clapper's totally closed, the first frame, and then line it up with the first sound you hear of the clapper making it, and that lines everything up. Well, that's what you're doing, I guess, if you're recording like sound and video separately. But yeah, it's tough because a lot of that is done in the performance where it's harder than you'd think to lip sync a performance. Like, because it's not just saying the lyrics, it's like it's hard to do it. Even when it's like, I don't know, I always struggle with it. Make a lot
Yeah,
of
no,
quick cuts, nobody notices.
for sure, for sure. That's definitely very interesting. It's definitely out. I mean, Amazon has everything, so I can
Yeah.
definitely order one of those from Amazon and see if that helps. Like I said, video editing is certainly a skill.
Yeah. That
And I
might not
want to
help you actually with video editing, so strike that. But order the electric kazoo that's on Amazon. There's an electric kazoo on Amazon for $30 that I want.
an electric kazoo.
I found it. It's like I don't know how I found it, but it's a kazoo that has a little amplifier on it. It's like $30, comes in a variety of colors. So yeah, we're gonna sample that. All right. What makes you nervous about the direction our country's heading in?
What'd you say?
What makes you nervous about the direction that our country is heading in? Is there anything that makes you nervous about it?
I would say more than anything, the level of individual, like the level of individualism is getting to a dangerous level where people aren't able to relate to other people anymore.
Yeah.
And that's something that we are understated. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's way more important than we're making it out to be, to have a larger community and to be able to relate to people on a much larger scale than the micro groups and things that we are getting into. Like, everyone deserves a voice, of course, and everyone deserves equal rights. So anyone fighting for rights, obviously I completely understand. But we also need to be able to relate on just a human level to everybody.
Right.
Alienation and divisiveness is only going to make making decisions harder. It's only going to make policies harder. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to have blanket laws and blanket policies. You know what I'm saying? Things that apply to everyone. Um, you know, don't kill anybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and once you start to blur the line of these things, it can get to a very dangerous point where people feel like certain things don't apply to them because they don't exist in a certain micro group. You know what I mean?
Yeah, agreed, 100%. There's a couple prominent articles that came out recently about how we're living in the loneliest era ever, and I think people are lonelier than ever. And I mean, I feel fortunate. I probably feel the least lonely that I have my whole life, but I totally relate to that feeling of it's very easy to feel isolated and alone these days, and that leads to bad things.
Yeah, yeah, for
you know,
sure.
that's why solitary is a punishment, and it's a punishment that's debated whether it's cruel and unusual as well. So
I
leave
mean,
that.
it's absolutely inhumane. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have these studies and these things. You know what I'm saying? Our digression from science. You know what I mean? Like, what is fact and what is fiction, and the blurred
Right.
lines between truth and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, we're going in some tricky
Yeah.
directions.
All right. So question 72. What is something that gives you hope for the future?
You say what?
What is something that gives you hope for the future?
Um, Skip? No, I'm just kidding. Nah, I would say honestly, just the youth in general, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are still, good parents and good people that are instilling values, instilling science and history into their kids and stuff like that. So I do have hope that some problems that plague us will be solved with people that are more detached from those problems.
Right. I do think people don't give young people enough credit these days. I think they're also painted with a broad brush, and I've probably learned, if not more, as much as I've learned from older people, from people that are younger than me. And it's
Yeah, I mean,
everybody has something.
I just heard some beats from a guy who's like 18 years old, and I'm like, man, these beats are just so amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you can't that's just music, but you can't discredit the youth at all. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Even politically speaking, they can be um a lot more, in tune with social conditions now than we are. You know what I mean? They
Right.
just know a lot more about what's going on. So
And they're more emotionally intelligent, I think. You know, that's a
absolutely.
big deal. All right, number 73. If you're a hip hop artist in a slasher horror movie, how would you make sure that you survived until the end? And that was an AI question. That was half an AI question. I changed the second half of it.
I'm probably going the Busta Rhymes and that Halloween movie route.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to fight, man. Like, I'm not just gonna let some guy, or whoever, kill me. If I'm surviving, I'm trying to find a weapon, trying to find an exit, and I'm watching my back and I'm watching my feet. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Getting tripped up is a big one. You know what I'm saying? So you want to be that guy that's almost annoying in the movie because of how aware he is of the situation.
I think LL Cool J, he survived a Halloween movie too. I think Halloween H2O, he survived it. I think he might have been a little bit of that. He
Oh,
survived that
does
and
he?
Deep Blue Sea. I just ruined two movies for people. Sorry.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I also like Deep Blue Sea or whatever that
Yeah,
movie
that's what I
was.
just said. Deep Blue
Uh,
Sea. Yeah. My hat is like a shark fin. I have
I
that on
say
vinyl.
that till this day, all the time.
I have that song on vinyl. I bought it recently because I found it in a bin. So I was gonna scratch that up or something. But yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. All right. Question number 74. What's some advice you have on booking a show in a new city?
Um, I would say try your best to get to like the closest person to the owner of the venue. You know what I mean? Like you want to be in direct connection with whoever is in control of having people there. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Every
Just trying.
venue I've ever been to has been a political environment where there's struggle between everybody who works there. And it's like everybody seems to be very backstabby, which is you see that a lot in like the service industry in general. I think not to
Oh
paint
yeah.
with it, no, I'm painting with a broad brush here too, but it's like, we've all worked at a restaurant where it was just like bananas mixed with cocaine. And like, and that's what a lot of these venues tend to be like.
Yeah,
That's good
absolutely.
advice.
I mean, you can
Know who you're talking to.
go to the top of the ladder. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, that'd really be my best advice. And I would say don't show all your cards, you know what I'm saying, as far as how much you're willing to invest. If your budget is this much, tell them your budget is a little less than that, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Typical negotiation strategies.
Definitely, definitely know when to negotiate and when not. One thing that this is advice I would have, and take it or leave it for people. This is more for other people. Is that like, if you're working with a rapper, like a known rapper, and they you want to do a verse and they give you a price, don't lowball them. Like
Yeah, no,
it's
no way.
show some respect to the people that it's one thing if you're negotiating with a friend, but like if you're reaching out to somebody who's got a real, whatever, as much as you can, treat the price like the price, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you want to give people what they deserve and what they're asking for.
Yep. And a lot of these people have done a lot for free. A lot of these people are not making the revenue they were making previously when we were all buying CDs. So
Absolutely.
just, that's just one thing I'd say, just show respect. And like, even if you have to be like, look, I can't afford it today, but maybe we'll talk in 6 months or something. Just,
Being
you know,
honest about what you can afford is really the best way to go, you know what I'm saying?
Yep, yep. Especially when you're working with artists, it's always a little different when you're working on the business side with like the venues and stuff. That's when you can, I think, you maybe be a little more creative for the promotion end. But
Exactly.
you know, show love to your fellow artists. All right, it's question 75. Do you remember a time when someone was nicer to you than they had to be, and they had a positive influence on your life? I'm a big proponent of be nicer than you have to be.
Um,
It's
I
free
would
and
say maybe like bosses in certain job situations, you know what I'm saying, or coworkers or something like that, you know what I mean, where uh there's just a certain level of like decorum that's necessary in the environment, and I know that they're kind of just you know, being nice because they have to,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
and but other than that, I really don't experience that too often, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Even artist wise, like if artists really don't fuck with you, they're just not really going to. And you can kind of tell when the energy is off.
No, I think all right. So I meant when someone was nicer, like someone went out of their way to do something for you that they didn't have to do.
Oh, to do something
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. I might have flubbed that up because
Ah,
we've been
okay.
rambling forever. Like people who went out of their way just to say, like, I want to help you just because I think you're someone who I can help, you know?
Um, I would say realistically, like the most like the only thing that I could really think that like even applies really in my life would be like artwork, you know what I'm saying? Like, and working with you and artists for artwork, that type of thing, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like one of the most important things to promotion, perception, the music, the shows, the logos, the clothes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's everything, you know what I'm saying? So I would say definitely the artwork,
All right.
you
Well, I
know.
didn't mean to make that about me, but I appreciate that.
No, I
And
mean
I'm
it's
a big proponent
just
in that. I believe in being nicer than you have to be. I think it all comes back around, That's what it's really all about.
For sure. You've always been very extremely nice to me. You know what I mean?
Same,
And
man.
in my life, I feel like I'm typically trying to be the nice one. You know?
Yes, yes. And there's a lot. It's be nice until you don't nice until it's that's not the option anymore. It's
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, 3 questions left. Do you think you're ever too old to be a rapper? This is sort of back in the line what I mentioned before about we're celebrating 50 years of hip hop. We have some of our hip hop legends that are in their 60s, and even probably even older than that. Do you think you're ever too old? Like if Big Daddy Kane or Rakim decided they were gonna drop an album next year?
I don't think I don't think you're too old to rap, but I feel like maybe performance wise and certain touring and things like that, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
you might have to take a break from, but just like with rock people, you can make music forever, you know?
Yeah. Rap's the one thing that's funny that you always see these people go, I'm gonna retire from rapping. And so many people have retired from rapping so many times. Jay-Z, Lupe Fiasco, all these people. Joe Budden's the only one that's ever actually really stuck with it. But like it's like we get into this thing. Like if you're an athlete, your day is gonna at some point somebody's gonna tell you that your time
Absolutely.
playing the kids game is over. And we get into something that we can hypothetically do forever. And I don't get why people are so quick to want to jump out of it, you know.
I feel like the main difference is that rap isn't that old yet.
So we've
Um,
never seen someone that old, so it's hard to picture it. Maybe there's no role model. You
exactly.
look at Jay-Z now; he's looking more like Basquiat every day, and that dude looks like the elder statesman of hip hop. And you can go, "That yes, that's what hip hop at that age looks like," and I like that. I look at that
Yes,
dude as a
yes,
cool
he would
motherfucker.
definitely be the prime, like he's gonna end up being the prime example of an older person doing hip hop still at a very high level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yep, sure. All right, 2 questions left. What's a slang phrase you wish would go away? I'm gonna
You
say
said
that
what?
what's a slang phrase that you wished would go away? I'm personally pretty much done with no cap. I feel like it came in really hard and overstayed its welcome. But
Um, I would say maybe like pause.
yeah, that's another one I could definitely throw out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
I
just
don't have
wish we
time for that. It's like, I don't have time for
it's
that.
just so ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like yeah, that's definitely would be my choice.
Yeah. All right. Last question. What is a special message that you would give to any members of the San Antonio hip hop scene who stuck around long enough to hear all 79 questions and answers?
The main thing I would say for sure is thank you. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Thank you so
Definitely thank
much.
you from both of us.
Um, I would also say find a hobby. You know what I'm saying?
This is our hobby. Our hobby's recording it. Your hobby can't be listening to it.
Like straight up, you know what I mean? But I would also say, that is very appreciated. You know what I'm saying? If anything, I hope you got more insight into both of us, you know what I'm saying? You and I, both as artists, I hope you got a little bit more knowledge and information about hip hop, you know what I'm saying? I definitely hope that you check out some of the artists and, the music that was mentioned because it's all dope, underrated stuff, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, other than that, dabs and espresso, you
Dabs
know?
Espresso, July 10th, International Dab Day. It is dropping. I cannot wait to hear it. Yeah, that was one of my
Yeah, I
favorite
mean,
covers to do. And that came
that's what
together
I'm about to
so quick.
indulge in right now, you know?
Oh, nice, man. That's very nice. I'm gonna indulge in some sleep right now. This is like it's 10:36 out here, which might as well be 3 in the morning for me.
Hell yeah. I mean, shit, you killed it though, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this went great, man. I really appreciate you doing this. So, all right, let's sign off here. Have a good night, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.